Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
It is unbelievable the change of weather patterns that we've had over the course of the last week. Mother Nature seemingly wanting to throw us all off of our game in the last week of 2022. But I'm here. We're getting back to December weather. We're heading into the month of January. And in case you guys haven't realized, you know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live on 4 different platforms, 5 different accounts. We are going to end the year on the highest note possible. Why? Because I'm streaming live and you're watching me, so I'm automatically going to make your 2022's end in the best possible way and your 2023 begin in the best possible way. We're ending 2022 on the best note possible, and we're starting 2023 on an even better note. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Shit. Do you smell that? You know what that is? That right there is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind! And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, December 31st, 2022. I think this may be the very first time I've ever done a New Year's Eve Lightning Flash update, a New Year's Eve stream in general. We're going to end the year on a very high note because I got a lot of shit to go over, and we are going to consume as much material possible to end this year and go into 2023 with the best possible foundation for one of the best possible years that we could have. Let me take a sip of my ice water. We got Hula Grim, my boy Hula Grim. We also got Mitchkovsky, Dylan, and the final hoss. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more people as the stream goes on. I hope you guys are having a great weekend thus far. I know I am. I was let out of work early yesterday. I'm off today, I'm off Sunday, and I'm off Monday. Got a nice long weekend to relax, get myself ready for the content that I will be recording going into 2023. And we're going to have a fun time. We're going to have a very, very fun time indeed. I hope you guys are having a great New Year's weekend, just like I am. I hope you're spending time with your families, or you're relaxing, or you're drinking and you're eating good food. I know I'm going to be eating some good food tonight for dinner. I got some nice seafood and steak tonight for dinner. It's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. But we have a lot of news, rumors, and reports to go over. And the main topic of the show this week, the top 10 best matches of 2022 across the three major wrestling promotions, which is WWE, AEW, and Ring of Honor. I will be going over that after the news, rumors, and reports. I know that there's a lot of people that are doing this, and I know that there's a lot of people that are going to have a lot of different takes and a lot of different stances on so many different matches and moments that went along with these matches throughout the year. I know for a fact that everyone in the chat has their own takes, and they have their own top 10 best matches. If not top 10, they at least have their number one. If not their top 10, they at least have their number one. I'm going to go over what I have, including some honorable mentions. We will get to that. We got plenty of material to talk about, including Dragon Lee signing with NXT, the reported backup plan for Roman Reigns if The Rock can't make it to WrestleMania, and I know a lot of people, after last night, I know a lot of people have been waiting for it. You best motherfucking believe that I am about to rip everyone from Charlotte to Ronda to WWE management. I'm about to rip every single person that was involved in that fiasco last night. I'm going to rip them all a new asshole. I'm going to rip them two new assholes. Never mind one. I'm ripping them all two new assholes. They'd be lucky. They'd be lucky if I only rip them one. But I know for a fact that we are going to have a great stream. And before we get into what we are going to get into, I do want to offer a very special thank you to everyone in the chat, and everyone that has supported me and has watched my content throughout this year. Again, I say it all the time, 2022, just like all the other years, a years of highs, a years of lows, a years of ups, a years of downs. But the one true constant that has remained is the fact that I have the support of the people in this chat, and the fact that you guys go out of your way every single Saturday, sometimes Thursdays, sometimes Sundays, sometimes Tuesdays, depending on if I stream for special rundowns or rewinds or special edition weekday LFUs. You guys go out of your way to support me. And again, me being just a common kid from the East Coast that decided to wake up one day and decided to analyze professional wrestling. Never thought that I would actually make it into a full-time hobby, and I would make it into I don't want to say second job, but this pretty much is my second job, even though I haven't made a dime from any of the streams that I do. It is pretty much my second job, and for me, it is very, very humbling. So I want to thank everyone in the chat. You guys made my year great. And I know for a fact 2023 is going to be even better. It's going to be bigger for the DJ Storms brand. And I know for a fact that we are all going to be taking on a great ride. I'm going to bring back some familiar faces to the channel for special edition videos. I'll be doing plenty of more vlogs for ISPW. Don't you worry. I will be doing plenty of rundowns, plenty of LFUs, and I may even bring back the Eye of the Storm sit-down interview show. So keep an eye out for that. I definitely plan on possibly interviewing some independent professional wrestlers, possibly getting their takes on what's going on in the current industry right now. It is going to be a very, very fun year for sure, and it's going to kick off next Thursday. Next Thursday, January 5th, it will all kick off with a rundown. The rundown for AEW Battle of the Belts number 5. That is streaming live next Thursday on January 5th. 2023, and my guest, my boy Little Stevie, who was with me for the very first 3 Battle of the Belts. He was there for the first Battle of the Belt rundown, the second, and the third, and he will be coming back for number 5. We're going to dissect everything that's going down on Friday, January 6th, immediately following Rampage. So far, we got Kip Sabian and Orange Cassidy confirmed for the All-Atlantic Championship. Will Tony Khan be able to continue his streak of good shows? We will find out. And me and Stevie will be live next Thursday at 8 p.m., January 5th, to dissect and preview and predict everything that's going to go down at Battle of the Belts. So do not miss the very first stream of the new year, next Thursday. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Lisa. She's awesome. She has been one of my biggest supporters for the last 15 months. Couldn't ask for a better supporter than Lisa. So shout out to her. And I know for a fact that I'll be having her on the show sooner rather than later. I plan on having her on the show at some point in the new year. So be prepared, people. Be prepared. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. Please add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. I hope that everyone had a great Christmas, a great holiday season with their family. I know I did. I got a new shirt. Shoosh, please. Got to support the great American hero known as Chad Gable. Great new shirt. I was having a very lazy Christmas, actually. It's been very, very lazy. Probably the laziest Christmas and the most lazy Thanksgiving as well that I think I've had in years. And I mean fucking years. It was ridiculous. I felt so out of my element because I'm not a lazy individual. I'm always up. I'm always about. I always feel like I need to do something. But this year, for the last two holidays, the two major holidays of the year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, very, very lazy. And I'm going to be having an even lazier New Year's, that's for sure, after this is over, obviously. I hope you guys enjoyed the Hark the Posse members sing. That was a very, very fun video to record, so I hope you guys got a lot of laughs out of that. I hope you guys enjoyed the Thursday, December 22nd LFU from last week. I just wanted to get something in before the holiday began, and I was able to sneak something in there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, I mean, we're almost 12 and a half minutes into the stream. If you guys haven't liked the stream, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I really don't know what the fuck you're doing. When you come on here, you got to like the stream. You need to like the stream. It is incredibly vital. And when you like the stream, you got to make sure that you share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether that be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you are using. Please make sure you check out the Hardcore Sports social media platforms. Twitch at Hardcore Sports 1, which we are streaming live on right now. Instagram at Hardcore Sports Network. Twitter at Hardcore Sports N. We are trying to get Twitter back in shape because I don't know what's going on. There's a problem going on with the Hardcore Sports Twitter account, so we can't exactly stream live on it. Hopefully, we should get that fixed sooner rather than later. And, of course, the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel right down at the bottom, we are streaming live on right now. And Hardcore Sports, we are growing exponentially. We are almost to 230 subscribers. We are gaining as much subscribers as we possibly can. And we are looking to be the number one sports analytical brand across Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be. We are looking to be the top sports analytical brand when it comes to baseball, hockey, basketball, football, wrestling, UFC. Doesn't matter what it may be. We're looking to be number one. So please go and support Hardcore Sports. They are fantastic, a great group of individuals, and I'm very, very happy to be a part of Hardcore Sports. They gave me the opportunity to be a part of their group and be a part of their posse. Even though I got my own posse, they allowed me to be a part of their posse, and Hardcore Sports has really helped the DJ Storms brand grow over the course of the last 6 months. I cannot wait to see the opportunities that 2023 brings for me with the Hardcore Sports brand. Please make sure that you like the stream wherever you're watching it from. If you're watching on YouTube, like the stream and hit the subscribe button. That way I will grow my channel. Hardcore Sports will grow their channel as well. And of course, hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Why? Because on YouTube, it's the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here, this slick back, black hair, and my God, is it getting thick and fluffy. So you need to just excuse me for 1 second because I gotta light it up right here with my ace comb because I'm the ace of the IWC, and I'm gonna light it up with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like fresh, hot, baked ziti out of the oven, like fresh, hot lasagna with the Parmesan cheese. Oh, I'm just so good. You already know the drill. Everybody wants a piece of the StormsMeister because I am the tastiest snack in the IWC. Everybody wants to take a bite out of DJ Storms. Everybody needs a slice of Storms in their life. I think I may put that shit on a t-shirt. I think in 2023, one of my main goals, one of my New Year's resolutions is to get a t-shirt brand website in which I can sell custom t-shirts and wristbands and all sorts of other DJ Storms merch. I really think that I'm going to do that. I really do. I think that would be great. Anyway, let's not waste any time. We have a shit ton of material to cover, and I mean a shit ton of material. We're going to dive straight into the news, rumors, and reports. Now, originally, I thought that this first report that I was going to talk about was a legit report, but it was not a legit report. Some fucking idiot who's a Divas Mark decided to start a rumor that Fightful reported that Billie Kay could have been returning to WWE. The report was that she would be on SmackDown handing out her resume like she was before she got fired, and she would be trying to get her job back. This report was indeed shut down, as this account was proven to simply have been a fantasy booking account, and it was pretty much nothing, so we can all collectively breathe a sigh of relief. Billie Kay, that cancerous fucking disease of a professional wrestler, is not going to be returning to the WWE at any point in time. The one thing that I just can't fucking stand is the fact that there are legitimately accounts that would go out of their fucking way to do something like that. That's what I can't fucking stand. There's legit accounts that would go out of their way to start fake rumors like that just to get people talking. Those accounts are the bane of social media's existence. So thank God this report is not true. Can you imagine fucking Billie Kay coming back? Holy fuck. Do people forget that she was part of the reason why Sasha Banks walked out of WWE the first time? She didn't necessarily piss off Sasha Banks, but the reason why Sasha walked out is because of the disrespect that she was getting and the false promises that she was given. They gave the women's tag team titles to the fucking Iconics after Bayley and Sasha barely held them for 2 fucking months, shitting on everything that Bayley and Sasha did to try and make those championships meaningful, and the championships have never recovered since then. The Iconics legitimately killed the women's tag team titles, along with shit WWE creative. So thank God Billie Kay is not coming back, and this was just a stupid fake rumor that was started by one of the idiot Mark accounts. Divas accounts. Holy fuck. Now, onto a report that was actually legit. Fightful provided an update on everyone's internal feelings in WWE regarding the news of Vince McMahon wanting to return to the company. One WWE talent that listened to the news called the news exhausting. He called the news exhausting, quote unquote, and was hopeful Vince's WWE tenure was in the rearview mirror. One higher-up was not concerned, however, and talked about the stock raising up, viewership boosting, and the general backstage morale boosting tenfold since Vince McMahon stepped down. And Fightful reported that it is indeed safe to say that WWE higher-ups do not want to see Vince McMahon back in the WWE. Now, even though Vince McMahon holds the majority of the stock, I would like to believe that considering the majority of WWE higher-ups do not want Triple H, or not Triple H, do not want Vince McMahon back, and they are content with Triple H in charge, I would like to believe that that right there would be a major factor in deciding whether Vince comes back or not. Because I don't think Vince McMahon willingly retired. He would have had to have been convinced by some of the higher-ups, because the higher-ups did not want the stock or the ratings or anything regarding WWE and their money to start going down, because ratings generate money, because the stock is majorly important in deciding whether or not the company makes a shit ton of money. Obviously, you got all these fucking deals with the networks. So if this shit got really out of control with Vince McMahon, which I assume it's going to, because reportedly they haven't even revealed anything. The Wall Street Journal hasn't revealed everything there is to be revealed about Vince McMahon. I would assume that there's plenty fucking more, because Vince McMahon's a demented, sick freak. There's plenty more to be revealed. So by that logic, I would like to believe that, combined with the WWE higher-ups feeling as though they do not want Vince McMahon back and they're doing just fine without him, I'd like to believe that that also plays into account on whether or not Vince McMahon really returns. For me, listen, it's a possibility, but I'd like to believe that he was just saying it just to say it. He's saying it because he's just an egomaniac. Do I think it's going to happen? I mean, it's a possibility, but I would like to believe not. I would like to believe that Vince McMahon's probably going to be tied up with a lot of fucking lawsuit work. And that shit is going to consume his time for hours and hours and hours out of the day. He'll probably barely have time to fucking sleep. So at that rate, it is probably looking unlikely that Vince McMahon would come back. Could he? Maybe. Right now, I'm not going to worry about it too much, considering that it was just one little piece of information. If we start hearing more and more information as the weeks go on, then I guess at that point, it's time to be a little bit more concerned. And I certainly would be a little bit more concerned if we hear more information going into the coming weeks, into the new year, into WrestleMania season. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what's going to happen. I do not know what is going to go down. The only thing about the WWE and the professional wrestling industry is that nothing is for sure. So we'll have to wait and see. But the fact that the higher-ups do not want Vince McMahon back, good. Keep it that way. With the higher-ups not wanting Vince McMahon back, that is a great sign, because that's a sign that they are doing just fine without him. Good. Let's hope it stays that way. The Rock. Let's talk about The Rock for a minute. There was a report going around by WrestlingNews.co talking about the backup plan for Roman Reigns if The Rock cannot make it for WrestleMania. Reportedly, if The Rock can't make it for WrestleMania, the backup plan is to have WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns defend his title against Cody Rhodes. Ringside News packaged on top of this report, stating that the WWE could end up splitting the world titles back up again in 2023 before WrestleMania. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre could end up fighting for the title while Roman defends the title against Cody Rhodes. Although, if The Rock is able to appear, The Rock would fight Roman and Cody would potentially go and fight Rollins. Although it is unclear how WWE will get one title off of Roman Reigns leading into one of their biggest shows of the year, that right now is currently the alternative plan if The Rock cannot make it. I don't even know where to start with this, and I'm probably not going to know where to start with many of these stories. But first of all, this alternate plan that WWE has, if Rock can't make it, Cody is going to be the alternate plan. If you're asking me, Cody should be the first plan. I don't understand why The Rock is even being discussed. You had two opportunities to do that. You could have done it at WrestleMania 37, or you could have done it at WrestleMania 38. The Rock couldn't do it. I'm sorry, but you need to know when to let shit go. That ship has sailed. On top of that, if you wanted to do The Rock and Roman Reigns and you had to wait this long until The Rock finally was able to appear at WrestleMania, then Roman Reigns should have already lost the championships. I understand that it's not necessarily ideal to have Seth Rollins go in there against Cody Rhodes and lose for a fourth time. But I mean, it would have been much better if you wanted to do The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. And if The Rock could make it, it would have been much better to have Roman Reigns drop the titles to Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre could have held the titles till the Rumble. Rollins could have taken the titles off of Drew McIntyre, and then Cody could have won the Rumble, and Cody and Rollins would have came full circle, and Cody would have finally dispatched of Rollins, and Cody would have won the title at WrestleMania. That would have been a hell of a lot better than Roman Reigns taking the championship into WrestleMania and potentially not even fighting Cody at all. If Drew was ultimately going to lose, then Cody should inevitably have been penciled and penned and or written in blood to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and beat Roman Reigns for the championships. Cody Rhodes is the best possible option. I don't understand why he has to be an alternate plan. Now, it's looking, based on what I'm hearing, it's really looking like The Rock's probably not going to be at WrestleMania. And if I'm going to be quite honest, that's probably the best possible thing. But even if The Rock was going to be at WrestleMania, I don't understand why it's so hard to just do The Rock and Roman Reigns on night one, and then Roman Reigns goes into night two, pretty much a god at this rate. I'm not sure how much more godly he can get. Roman goes into WrestleMania night two as a god after beating The Rock on night one, and then loses to Cody Rhodes after Cody wins the Rumble. That would have been so much better of a fucking plan. I don't understand why it's so fucking hard to carry out the most simplest of plans. Even with Triple H in charge, it's like they always overcomplicate shit and they never want to take the simple route. And then, Ringside News packaged on top of this, stating that WWE could end up splitting the world titles back up again. How is that going to work? Is Roman Reigns going to defend the title in the Rumble and then Roman loses the title in the Rumble without being pinned? Is Roman going to lose the title in the Elimination Chamber? If that's the case, then he's going to have to take a pinfall loss. And that's not going to work out too well. Is he just going to give it up? Why do we need 2 world titles? I really don't understand why we still need 2 world titles. Why do we need a brand split? Here's the problem that I have. I understand this argument of people are saying, oh, it's the networks. It's the networks. The networks want 2 separate rosters. Well, you know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you that WWE needs to grow a pair of fucking balls and stand up to the networks. WWE needs to go to the networks and they need to say, listen, NBC, USA, listen, Fox, you need to stay away from the shows. You need to stay away from the creative booking of the shows. I'm sorry, but if you guys want the best possible product and both of you want the best possible ratings across both Monday and Friday, if you guys both want the best possible WWE product out of us, then you need to compromise. We need to end this fucking brand split, and we need to get 1 set of tag team titles, 1 world championship. If you want to keep the 2 women's titles, we can keep the 2 women's titles. But we need 1 world champion that's going to appear on both shows. Both shows, 1 world champion. Both shows, 1 set of tag team champions. Both shows, anyone can appear anywhere. The only true brand split that should happen is with NXT in the main roster. NXT superstars can appear on the main roster from time to time, but ultimately NXT is its own brand, and the main roster, Raw and SmackDown, is one. WWE needs to grow a pair of fucking balls, stand up to the networks, and explain to them that the brand split does not work. Even with all the returns, even with all the people that Triple H has brought back, even with some of the most recent NXT call-ups, the brand split is not necessary anymore. 2016, it was necessary because of the overabundance of talent. But then WWE released more than half of their fucking roster between 2020 and 2021. And then we were left with nothing but skin and bones. The WWE roster, I'm sorry, the WWE roster and the WWE product in 2022 is not meant for a brand split anymore. It's not necessary. It's making the product worse. Just do 1 world championship, 1 set of tag team championships, get rid of the women's tag team titles, and then operate with the 2 women's singles championships. The only other championship that I would be even slightly open to WWE reintroducing or introducing in itself would be trios championships, because we got a lot of good trios. But I don't think WWE is going to go that route. We don't need any more championships. We need to reduce the amount of championships. AEW has the perfect amount of championships right now. 1 world title, 2 mid-card titles, 2 women's titles, 1 set of tag team titles, and then a trios championship. The problem is that they just don't have enough TV time to showcase everyone. But at the end of the fucking day, AEW sets of championships are perfect. We do not need 2 world championships for WWE. That is going to hamper the WWE product, and that is only going to make matters worse. 1 world champion appearing on both shows, and even if they decide to split up the championships, you are really going to put Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes in the ring once again? Listen, I know that a lot of people would want to see that, but Cody Rhodes just came out on Monday Night Raw on the Best of 2022 edition, stating that another match with Rollins, that's not on his radar. That's not on his radar. You think that he would just go out of his way to say that? He's telling WWE without actually telling them, listen, if The Rock can make it, I don't want to do this shit. I do not want to have the titles split up. Just do 1 world championship. It makes things a hell of a lot easier. I'm telling you. I really don't understand this fetish with splitting up the world champion. I don't understand the fetish with the fucking networks to keep the rosters split. Are the networks really content with how the rosters are working right now? Yes, the shows are better, but if you had everyone being able to appear on all hours of the shows, 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, that would make the overall show flow a lot better. We would get the biggest stars on the biggest shows. Maybe if they want to, we can have Monday Night Raw be its flagship show with a lot of major storylines. And then we can have SmackDown be the place where storylines get extended sometimes, but we also get a lot of young talent on that show. Or maybe we can reverse it. Maybe SmackDown's the flagship show with the bigger stars, and Raw, we can get storylines continuing with young talent being showcased. Either way, we do not need a fucking brand split. And then there's rumors of Drew McIntyre potentially getting involved. Why is Drew McIntyre going to get involved with Seth Rollins if Cody Rhodes ends up fighting Roman Reigns? And it is still unclear how they're going to get the title off of Roman. This entire scenario, it just sounds like a disaster. It sounds like something that is way more complex and way more convoluted than it needs to be. It's simple. Cody wins Rumble. Cody fights Roman, both titles. Cody wins. We get 1 world champion after WrestleMania. Simple as that. If The Rock can do it, Rock Roman night 1, Roman wins. Roman Cody night 2, Cody wins. Simple. Still, to this day, even with Triple H in charge, WWE always has to overcomplicate shit and always take the long and windy, twisty road. It's like WWE has 2 roads in front of them. 2 roads in front of them. They both lead to the same destination. The first road is straight. It is straight. It is simple. You walk in a straight line. You are going to get to the destination the quickest way possible and the simplest way possible. And then they got another road that's full of ups and downs and twists and turns and fucking loop-de-loops and tornillos and corkscrews, and they're going to end up at the same destination, but it's going to be much more aggravating and exhausting than it needs to be. And yet they always take the long and windy road with the corkscrews and the tornillos and the shortcuts and the this and that and up and down, roller coaster, Six Flags shit. Just take the fucking straight road. Stupid. That is a terrible idea. And we'll get to terrible when we talk about Ronda Rousey and that fucking debacle that we saw last night on SmackDown. Moving on to another piece of news. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that the next Saudi Arabian show for WWE could take place in May, although it is unclear what the name of the show would be. Now, if the next Saudi Arabian show is taking place in May, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Mainly because of the fact that usually WWE has a lot of lull periods. Their major lull period is between SummerSlam and the Rumble. SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble is their biggest lull period. After September going into October, the interest in pro wrestling just seems to decrease. October, November, and December are the worst months for pro wrestling. Interest is at an all-time low because of the three major holidays of the year. Their second biggest lull period is between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. However, that lull period is by choice because of what Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard did and their just utter laziness after the WrestleMania season is over. But Triple H, if Triple H is planning on the Saudi Arabian show to take place in May, I don't mind that at all. I really don't. I don't mind that at all because that would give WWE a sense of urgency going into the post-WrestleMania season, and it would actually offer a nice bridge in between SummerSlam and WrestleMania. It would actually offer a very, very, very nice little soft spot for WWE to put on a big spectacle like we saw at Crown Jewel and give us an entertaining 3-4 hours of professional wrestling, just like we saw at Crown Jewel, and give the Saudi Arabian fans something of note, rather than placing it right after a pay-per-view in between October and November, whatever pay-per-views in October, and then Survivor Series in November. It would actually give the pay-per-view time to breathe. It would actually give the build a little bit more of substance rather than building to two shows at the same time. It would give the Saudi Arabian show a much better feel. So I don't mind this taking place in May because after WrestleMania, WWE doesn't really have much going on. So if they want to build towards a Saudi Arabian show and make it a big spectacle like we saw back in November at Crown Jewel, I have no problem with that. And at the end of the day, I don't care what they do. I just want a good show. So if they give me a good show, they give me a good show. I don't mind that whatsoever. I'll tell you something else that I don't mind. Fightful reported that Dragon Lee signed with WWE. It was back on Wednesday, December 28th. It was the final AAA pay-per-view of the year. And La Facción Ingobernales, Dralistico and Dragon Lee, the brothers, they took on FTR. And FTR lost the AAA World Tag Team Championships to Dralistico and Dragon Lee. And at the end, Dragon Lee spoke in his native tongue of Spanish, and he said that he will be going to WWE. He signed a contract for NXT. WrestleVotes provided an update on why Triple H decided to sign Dragon Lee to WWE. They tweeted out, and I quote, "I'm told WWE is hopeful that the signing of Dragon Lee is just the start of standout talent agreeing to terms with the company. Hearing Triple H and crew have expectations to land other high-quality names in early 2023. Now, if that's the case, I'm actually happy about that. Because if Dragon Lee is going to NXT right now is the worst show on TV. It doesn't matter how you spin it. It doesn't matter whether you like it, whether you don't like it, which talent you like, which talent you don't like. Doesn't matter what you want to say. NXT right now is the worst wrestling show in the industry, and that is an indisputable fact. I do not want to hear a single fucking peep out of anyone. NXT right now sucks, and it's because of what Vince and Bruce did. If you're telling me that NXT 2.0 was Shawn Michaels' idea, I'm going to call you a bullshit artist. That is complete bullshit. Whether it was his idea, whether it was this guy's idea, that guy's idea, it was all revolving around what Vince and Bruce wanted. Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they were just fucking puppets carrying out the bidding of Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. Doesn't matter how you want to spin it. NXT 2.0 sucks. It was all because of Vince. It was all because of Bruce. And this version of NXT is still rehabilitating from all the damage that Bruce and Vince did. It's childish bullshit. It honestly is. It's childish bullshit. It is lame. It is stupid. It's lifeless. NXT has no sense of urgency. NXT is just a 2-hour show on the USA Network. It's a professional wrestling show that's simply just there. It just exists. It's there. It serves no purpose. It has no value. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Dragon Lee. He's fantastic. You don't believe me? Go watch his match with Roosh back at Death Before Dishonor in July. Probably the second best match of the night, right behind FTR and the Briscoes in that 2 out of 3 Falls match. Dragon Lee is a fantastic professional wrestler, and if Dragon Lee can give me a segment on the show, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it may be, if Dragon Lee can give us a segment on Tuesday nights that's worth going out of your way to watch, I have no problem with that whatsoever. And if this is going to be the start of a true, and I mean a true rehabilitation process for NXT in 2023, if NXT is really looking to restart the process of building that show up to be something of substance, I can get behind that 1,000%. Because right now, NXT, it's nothing but juvenile hour. Andre Chase and Chase U, that sucks. Wendy Chu has a terrible fucking character. Cora Jade can't wrestle. I mean, need I say more about Cora Jade? Toxic Attraction sucks. With or without Mandy, they suck because majority of Toxic Attraction couldn't wrestle. Mandy was the only one that could wrestle, and they fired her for doing softcore porn. The vibe around NXT is just blah. It's just there. Nothing is original. Nothing is captivating. Everything is just so tame. Everything's so tame. There's nothing that grabs your attention on NXT. And it's not the talent that's the problem. Because we got some great talent on the show. Braun Breaker's great. Grayson Waller, he's great. JD McDonough. And Odyssey Jones, he's a promising young star. Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton have definitely come a long way. Roxanne Perez is fantastic. Pretty Deadly are a great tag team. Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. They're a nice, promising, up-and-coming tag team. They have a nice underdog vibe to them. Really. Tony D'Angelo, Wes Lee, Dominic Dijakovic. A lot of great talent on that show. But at the end of the day, it all revolves around the creative booking. So if you're looking to build NXT up once again as a top-tier place for great professional wrestling, and Dragon Lee is going to be the start of that, I can absolutely get behind that. I have no problem with that. And once you have a nice, solid foundation of great professional wrestlers, not these people that they train from scratch, professional wrestlers, indie professional wrestlers. Once we have a nice, solid foundation of indie professional wrestlers, then we can start getting the creative back on track. And I'd like to hope that after WrestleMania season, NXT is a major, major priority in WWE. Because if people watch NXT and people keep a close eye on NXT with what they do, especially if Dragon Lee's going to be there and whoever else they want to sign, I'd like to hope that there's finally going to be a strong connection, a strong fluidity, a strong transition from NXT to the main roster, and people would actually give a shit about the people that come up from NXT. Because even to this day, people don't give a shit about anyone that comes up from NXT. They need to build their reputation, and they need to build their resume and their hot streak. They need to build themselves up on the main roster from scratch. So I'd like to believe that after WrestleMania season, NXT is going to be a full-blown priority. It's going to be a strong priority, and NXT is going to have a strong connection, not a disconnect, a strong connection between Raw and SmackDown. I like to hope Dragon Lee is really the start of NXT's true rehabilitation. I will keep you guys updated on it. I'm not sure when he's supposed to start, but he is relocating to Orlando, and he is going to put all of his eggs in the NXT basket. We'll see what happens. I was going to wait until the SmackDown portion to talk about this, but I can imagine that you people want me to talk about this now. I can imagine you people have been waiting. You guys have been foaming at the fucking mouth. You guys have been foaming at the fucking mouth, waiting for me to just absolutely rip this shit to shreds. And trust me, I know. And after this, we will get into the top 10 best matches of 2022. Last night we saw Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey fight for the SmackDown Women's title on the final SmackDown of 2022. Before all of this, Dave Meltzer put out a report stating that Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch was not planned for WrestleMania. This match was not planned. Now, I had a very hard time believing this, and then the fiasco that took place last night happened. But Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch is not planned for WrestleMania. Apparently, Ronda has pitched that she wants to fight Rhea Ripley, and that is potentially penciled in for WrestleMania. Becky and sources close to Becky stated that she felt that a match with Ronda Rousey at this year's WrestleMania, or this upcoming WrestleMania per se, would be a waste of time. She implied that Ronda is not what she used to be. She implied that the hype around Ronda and her has really deteriorated, and WWE virtually missed the boat, and it should have been done in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania 35. She feels as though the match has lost its luster. The match and a feud between these two has lost its appeal. And if that's the case, I mean, beep, 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 beep. No lies detected, Becky Lynch. Beep, 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 beep. No lies detected from Rebecca Quinn. No lies detected. Need I say more? Even Becky Lynch says it's a waste of time. Even Becky Lynch says this is a complete waste of time. And you know what? She's right. It is. It's a complete waste of time. WWE always, even with Triple H in charge, always has a habit of never truthfully giving the fans what they want. There is always an asterisk. There is always an asterisk next to the, oh yeah, we're going to give you what you want, but. Yeah, we'll give you Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, but we're going to insert Charlotte Flair in there, and it's going to be a triple threat match. And Charlotte actually made that match worse. Should have been one-on-one, Ronda and Becky. Didn't happen. But even Becky knows that Ronda is shit. Ronda is absolute shit. Ronda's been shit since she's come back. She has not been good. Her promo work sucks. She's sloppy in the ring. She doesn't make anyone look good. Ronda Rousey is a complete waste of roster space. And Becky Lynch knows that. So why would Becky Lynch openly accept a match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 39 when she herself is coming off a terrible heel run as Raw Women's Champion? She knows that she was absolute shit as a heel. She's back to being the man. She is in a feud with Bayley. They just put on a very good match on Monday Night Raw last week. And more likely than not, that feud is continuing going into the Rumble, potentially into the Chamber, and potentially into WrestleMania. Why would Becky Lynch give up what can be a great feud with Bayley after the match that we got last Monday and the match that we could potentially get with Becky Lynch and Damage Control? Why would she give that up for a match with Ronda Rousey that should have taken place 4 years ago? A match that has lost its luster. A match like that would make WrestleMania worse. So you know what? I applaud Becky Lynch for saying no. Good. That match should not even be in the cards for WrestleMania. Ronda now apparently wants Rhea Ripley, and she's being stubborn about it. Now, granted, I can't blame Ronda Rousey for wanting Rhea Ripley because right now Rhea Ripley is the hottest woman in WWE right now. She is on such a hot streak that she's legitimately the most talked about female on Monday Night Raw and across SmackDown as well. Rhea Ripley right now is number one. She's over everyone, and she doesn't even have a fucking championship. Rhea Ripley right now is number one. What she's been doing with Dominic and the Judgment Day and the skits that she did with Rey Mysterio and his family on Thanksgiving and Christmas. That was some great fucking television. Quality television. That's the shit right there that is making Rhea Ripley the number one female in the company right now. Her match with Tozawa was very, very fun. She's legitimately beating the shit out of grown men. Need I say more? This is why Rhea Ripley is number one. So I cannot blame Ronda Rousey for wanting Rhea Ripley, but I mean, how does this make any sense? Granted, Rhea Ripley being the woman to send Ronda packing, taking the SmackDown Women's title and running that division would give the SmackDown Women's division something of substance. And there are a few feuds that are waiting for Rhea Ripley there. You could do Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They have a history. They could potentially do that. But at the end of the day, why would you go with Rhea Ripley versus Ronda Rousey when the match itself would fucking suck? You need at least one top-tier women's wrestling match at WrestleMania. You're going to get Becky and Bayley probably, but you need a championship match in there too. Last year we had Bianca and Becky. Why not? Why not Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair? Because if Bianca is not going to fight Ripley at WrestleMania, who exactly is she going to fight? There's no one. She's beaten everyone. She's beaten Becky. She's beaten Asuka. She's beaten Sonya Deville. She's beaten Nikki Cross. She's going to beat Alexa Bliss. She's not going to lose to Alexa Bliss. Alexa's not beating Bianca. She beat Bayley as well. She's run through everyone but Rhea Ripley. And it's a match that should have happened at Money in the Bank, but it didn't happen at Money in the Bank. Bianca ended up fighting Carmella. She ran through Carmella because Rhea Ripley had to go and get dental surgery. So at the end of the day, the story's there. The story's there. And Rhea and Bianca, with how good those two women are right now, would give you the best possible women's wrestling match for the Monday Night Raw Women's Championship. There's a bigger story to tell with Ronda, and at this rate, I don't even know if they're going to tell that story based on what happened. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but Ronda and Rhea makes no sense. They have nothing to do with one another. Granted, it would make Rhea Ripley look good, and Rhea Ripley sending Ronda off and running the SmackDown Women's division would be beneficial to the SmackDown Women's division, but it would make no fucking sense. It's going to take a lot more than just Rhea Ripley to help rejuvenate the SmackDown Women's division. Ripley and Bianca would be the best possible route to go because they have history, especially with their match that never took place at Money in the Bank, and Rhea Ripley's the only individual that Bianca has not run through. Even dating back to their days in NXT, it was Ripley and Bianca at NXT TakeOver Portland. Ripley was the woman that helped send Bianca to the main roster. The story is there. There's no story with Ronda and Rhea. Then we get to last night. There are a lot of negatives, and we're going to go over all these fucking negatives, but let's actually start off with the positives. I need to start off with a positive before I just completely light this. I think I'm going to cause a fucking power outage again like I did at the last stream. Let's go with the positives first before we get into the overwhelming amount of negative. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what was different. I'm not sure what exactly took place, but the stars aligned and we actually got a pretty damn good women's title match between Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm not even going to bullshit you. This match was a hell of a lot better than anyone could have ever expected. I originally thought it was only going to go about 5 minutes because of Raquel's injured arm. But no, this ended up going nearly 20 minutes. And it started off rather uneventful, rather blah. Raquel was looking decent in there. And then all of a sudden, we started to see it go longer and longer. The intensity was there. The fluidity was there. Neither woman botched. Neither woman fumbled. Neither woman flopped. For some weird reason, they just gelled well together. They just gelled perfectly together. And they gave you what was possibly the best SmackDown Women's title match since the match with Naomi and Charlotte Flair back in January of this year, which was a great fucking match. And above all else, Raquel Rodriguez brought Ronda Rousey to not only her best match of the year, but Ronda Rousey's best overall match since the match with Sasha Banks at the Royal Rumble in 2019, nearly 4 years ago. And that right there, I must give my praise. I must give my praise to Raquel, and I must give my praise to Ronda Rousey for this one match. But I will give more praise to Raquel because this was her opportunity. Ronda Rousey's already a made woman. She don't give a shit, and she could leave tomorrow, and she can go right back to playing with a kid. But Raquel, you legitimately saw the care and the effort that Raquel put into this match. You knew that Raquel went in there and she had a motto. She had a game plan. I am going to do whatever I can to make myself look good, no matter what. And in the end, I got to tell you, this was probably Raquel's best match since the match with Dakota Kai at NXT TakeOver 36 back in August of 2021. Raquel looked great in this match. And in the end, we got a pretty damn good match. And both women looked good. Both women looked very good. And the crowd was actually into it. So I got to give my props to both those women. Then this is where shit goes downhill. I said my praise. I said my positives. Now I'm going to rip this shit apart. Charlotte Flair. Yes. Charlotte Flair with new theme music, with a new look. Charlotte Flair walks down to the ring, challenges Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda accepts. We get this match. Charlotte Flair wins the SmackDown Women's Championship in 60 seconds. Not even. Barely even 45. I wish I would have timed it. Barely even 45 to 50 seconds. Charlotte hit a big boot. Rousey kicked out. She then booted Baszler off of the apron. Ronda reversed the spear, went for the armbar. Charlotte rolled through into a cradle pin combination, and Charlotte Flair won the SmackDown Women's Championship. Let me take a sip of my ice water. I don't even know where to begin with this. I really don't even know where to start. I really don't know where to begin because there was just so much wrong with this. Really. So much wrong with this. I guess I may start with the one thing that everyone was saying. Oh, it's better than Ronda. Oh, anyone but Ronda. Ronda Rousey sucks. So you know what? I will gladly take Charlotte Flair 8 days out of the week. 8 times out of the week. Twice on Sundays. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Thank you, morons. I'm well aware that anything is better than Ronda Rousey. I could go to the bar at the end of my street. I could go to the bar at the end of my block. I could drink 6 bottles of whiskey, get alcohol poisoning, and throw up 2 times in the morning, 2 times at night, and then 2 times again the next morning, and that would be better than Ronda Rousey. Yeah, I'm well aware. I understand that Charlotte Flair is a better wrestler than Ronda Rousey. Obviously, there's a Christmas Village right to my right over here. I could take one of these plastic small little figures, put them in the ring, and they would be a better wrestler than Ronda Rousey. No fucking shit. Ronda sucks. I know. Ronda's been terrible. I'm well aware. But that doesn't mean have Charlotte come back and win the championship. That doesn't mean give Charlotte Flair the championship legitimately on her first night back. Well, listen, I don't give a shit who it was. I don't give a shit who it potentially could have been. I don't give a shit if it was Charlotte. I don't give a shit if it was Kevin Owens. I don't give a shit if it was Bayley, if it was Becky, if it was Kenny Omega. I don't give a shit if it was Chris Jericho. I don't give a shit if Jesus Christ himself had his second coming and walked out on stage to challenge Ronda Rousey to a title match. In no way, shape, or form should anybody, no matter who the fuck you are, no one should be coming back after nearly 8 months away and get a championship match right then and there and win the championship. I don't give a shit who you are. And then I got some people trying to tell me, well, you know, there is a bigger plan going on. This could lead to something. I don't give a shit if this leads to something bigger. Who cares? What it could lead to could end up being decent in the end, but at the end of the day, that's not going to justify what we saw. The ends will not justify these means because what we saw was a complete fucking embarrassment. A complete joke. No one, nobody, in case you didn't realize it the first 4 times, nobody should win a title back within the first 4 minutes of their return after 8 months away from the company. And if you think that anything will justify the fiasco that we saw last night, you, my friend, are a fucking retard. That's number one. No one should be winning a title back and or getting a title match within the first 4 to 5 minutes of their return to television. She was on TV for all but 5-6 minutes, and she was given the championship back. If you do not find anything wrong with that, you are mentally fucking disabled. That's number 1. Number 2, do you honestly think that shit like this didn't have anything to do with Sasha Banks initially not wanting to come back? Triple H took over Power legitimately 2 months after Sasha and Naomi walked out. Many people had thought that Sasha and Naomi would have been back within 2 weeks. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. After what we saw here, why do you think Sasha Banks walked out? Because of shit like this. It's absolutely because of shit like this. It's the same shit over and over and over again. Same old story, different week, different day, different year. It's always Charlotte, 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 going back to the same fucking people over and over and over and over again. Sasha Banks knows, just as anyone else knows, that the women's wrestling and the women's division in WWE is fucking dead. Women's wrestling in WWE is dead, buried 12 feet under. Never mind 6 feet under. It is buried 12 feet under. Women's wrestling will never peak in WWE again. After everything that Ronda did her first time around when she was actually good, and after everything that WWE did after Ronda left, feuding Becky with Lacey Evans, that right there was the nail in the coffin. Women's wrestling got worse and worse and worse, week after week, month after month, year after year, since Ronda left after WrestleMania 35. And Sasha saw that shit. WWE was lucky. They should be counting their lucky stars that Sasha ended up coming back after SummerSlam that year. If you don't think that this had anything to do with Sasha leaving and taking her ball and going to Japan, which she could very well show up next Wednesday, if you don't think that this had something to do with that, once again, you are a fucking retard. You look up retard in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of yourself. The fact that I need to explain this to you should make you feel even more retarded. And then number three. You know who I really feel bad for the most? Shayna Baszler, I do feel bad for, because she was standing right there. In no way, shape, or form should Charlotte have been their go-to to take that title off of Ronda, regardless of whether if Becky did not want the match with Ronda or Ronda wanted Rhea and she was being a stubborn bitch about it. Regardless of that, Charlotte was not the answer. Shayna Baszler was the answer. She was staring right in front of your face. If anything, Ronda ain't doing shit for Shayna. Shayna is the one that is trying to keep Ronda somewhat interesting. She's not really doing a good job at it because, let's be real, nothing makes Ronda Rousey interesting, but Shayna Baszler is fighting an uphill battle to try and get Ronda in a decent position. Ronda ain't doing shit for Shayna. Ronda's actually making Shayna worse. I feel bad for Shayna Baszler. I do feel bad for Sasha, too, because she had to put up with that shit for so many years. But do you know who I feel bad for the most? Raquel Rodriguez. Ronda Rousey has been shit. Ronda Rousey has been absolute shit since she's returned. Raquel Rodriguez, she has gotten called up, and she hasn't really been booked all too well. She was given the classic Finn Balor gimmick where she was coming out every single week smiling as if she's part of that new fucking Smile movie with the fucking demon that's smiling at you that's going to murder itself right in front of you and pass the curse on to you. She was a walking ad for the new Smile horror movie that came out this past fall. Wasn't really booked all that well, wasn't really showcased all that well, and then she gets to this match. She gets to this opportunity with Ronda Rousey, the biggest opportunity of her life to close out 2022. And she knows she needs to knock it out of the park, and that's exactly what she did. Raquel Rodriguez, who hasn't been booked all too well, goes in there, works her fucking ass off to give Ronda not only her best match of the year, but to give Ronda her best match since Ronda's match with Sasha back at the Royal Rumble in 2019. Gives you every reason why she should be a priority going into 2023. All for Charlotte Flair to swoop in, come back, beat Ronda in 60 seconds, take the title, and overshadow everything that Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez did for 20 fucking minutes. That is absolutely fucking disgusting. That's like if Bryan Danielson swooped in after MJF's match with Ricky Starks and beat MJF within 60 seconds, overshadowing the match with Ricky Starks. Absolutely pathetic, deplorable, and downright fucking disgusting. Everyone involved in this absolute shit show should be ashamed of themselves. Ronda, Charlotte, and WWE. Ronda for being a stubborn bitch. People want to say, oh, Ronda would never put over anyone, as if Charlotte Flair would. Ronda would never put over anyone, but I mean, if you're going to pair her with Shayna Baszler and put her in a feud and a match with Shayna Baszler, are you telling me that Ronda Rousey would not be open to helping her friend, her best friend at that get over? They're real life best friends, and you're telling me that Ronda would not be willing to put over Shayna Baszler? Ronda's a stubborn bitch as it is for throwing out the idea that, oh, she wants Rhea Ripley. I don't want the match with Becky Lynch either. And you know that WWE, they always got to bend over backwards for Ronda. Maybe they didn't bend over backwards for Ronda this time. Maybe this was a punishment for Ronda Rousey. Who fucking knows? But at the end of the day, Ronda is to blame for being a stubborn bitch and for only caring about herself. Charlotte is abso-fucking-lutely to blame. Absolutely to blame. I don't want to hear a single fucking word out of anyone. If you are going to sit there on your ass and tell me that Charlotte Flair does not have any backstage power and Charlotte Flair could not have said no to winning the title and she could not have advocated for someone else. If you actually think that Charlotte Flair cares about the division and she wants to make the division better, if you actually think that Charlotte doesn't have any power and she's not politicking her way to remaining at the top, once again, I will look you directly in your fucking faces. I will look at you with these fucking big ass eyes. I will look at you and I will say, you are a retard. You must have an IQ of 48 if you actually believe that Charlotte Flair is not politicking her way to remaining at the top. Charlotte Flair doesn't give a shit about anyone. All she cares about is her looking good, her remaining at the top. As far as I'm concerned, Charlotte is no better than fucking Ronda Rousey. The only difference is that she's a slightly better wrestler than Ronda Rousey. But then again, decent wrestlers are a dime a dozen in this industry. I've seen wrestlers at the ISPW shows that I go to on a monthly basis that are better wrestlers than Charlotte Flair, both male and female. Charlotte Flair is a manipulative, selfish cunt that does not care about anyone but herself. So of course she's going to say yes to this decision. You know why? Because she comes back after doing nothing for 7 months, wins back the championship, and boom, Charlotte Flair is on top of the world once again. Charlotte Flair is a 14-time women's champion, and Charlotte Flair is in the spotlight once again. So of course she's going to fucking say yes. She could have easily had said no. What the fuck are they going to do to her? What are they going to do if she says no? They're going to fucking fire her? She's their golden goose. She is their golden goose. She's number 2 right behind Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair could literally walk out on stage and slap one of Triple H's children in front of millions of people, and they would do nothing to her. They would bend over backwards for her. It's nepotism at its finest. Charlotte is a backstage politicking cunt that cares for no one but herself. So of course she's going to say yes. She could have easily had said, no, I don't want to do this. I've had my time. You know who you should push? You should push Shayna Baszler. And you know why? You know why I know Charlotte doesn't advocate for anyone? Because I haven't heard any fucking stories. I've heard nothing. I've heard stories of Sasha. I've heard stories of Bayley. I've even heard stories of Becky. Bayley cares about the division. Asuka cares about the division. Bianca cares about the division. Sasha cares about the division. They care about women's wrestling. Charlotte does not. Charlotte is to blame too. Ronda's to blame. Charlotte's to blame. Management is also to blame. And you know why they're to blame? They're to blame for not standing up to these two women and telling them they're the bosses. They need to listen to them, and they are majorly to blame for carrying out this absolute joke, this absolute fucking joke of a segment and wrestling match that we saw last night. And if you are telling me that this shit is going to do good in the end, my God, you may be the dumbest fuck on the planet right now. More things change, the more they stay the same. It was a complete and utter embarrassment, and it shit all over what Raquel did to get herself over. Are people talking about Raquel Rodriguez and the very good match that she put on with Ronda Rousey last night? No. All they're talking about is Charlotte Flair, and they're sucking off Charlotte Flair's figurative dick. That's all they're doing. What a complete fucking embarrassment. An embarrassment to a show that was otherwise fairly okay. A show that was otherwise fairly okay. And that was the only thing that people are talking about. They're not talking about Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. They're not talking about Raquel and Ronda. They're not talking about John Cena returning. All they're talking about is Charlotte Flair once again being the woman, the queen on SmackDown once again. It is absolutely pathetic. And I do not blame anyone. I do not blame anyone if they decide to stop watching. And the only reason why I'm still watching, even after all this shit, is because I got a fucking job to do. And I do not want to let anyone in this chat down. I put my needs and my sanity under yours. Swear to God. I swear to God. I can't even begin to tell you how fucking pissed I was. Anyone who decides to justify this shit, you have absolutely no right to be discussing anything professional wrestling, and I have absolutely zero respect for you. Charlotte Flair is an absolute disease. She is a cancer that needs to be surgically removed. And you know what? I really do hope. I really do hope that anything going forward, I hope the fans boo Charlotte Flair out of the building starting next week. I hope that they do Ronda and Charlotte again, because I want to see the disaster that match is going to be, just like it was at WrestleMania. Probably one of the worst matches of the entire year. An absolute fucking joke. A deplorable act from everyone, and everyone is to blame. The only innocent party in this is Raquel Rodriguez. And Shayna Baszler too. I will include her too. Those two are the only innocent parties in this entire thing. Ronda, Charlotte, and management, they are all to blame. And they should all be fucking ashamed of themselves. And everyone that supports that bullshit, that garbage, should be ashamed of themselves too. All of you that support it should be ashamed of yourselves. An absolute spit in the face to Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Sasha Banks, Liv Morgan, and everything women's wrestling related. I needed to let that out. I've been hanging on to that for quite a while now. Last 24 hours, not even. But holy shit, was that pent up? Was that pent up rage inside me? Thank God that I let that out, so now I can actually go over some positive stuff, which we will be going over the top 10 best matches of 2022. Hope you guys enjoyed that rant. Hopefully I spoke to you with great conviction. Hopefully I spoke to you with great intelligence. Well, let's be real. I'm DJ Storms. Nothing that comes out of my mouth. I'm a fucking genius. I'm literally fucking Einstein reincarnated. Let's be honest there. I hope you guys are having a good time. 12 people watching so far. We got a hot crowd, a hot chat, raucous chat. And I think that you guys are going to love what I got to say regarding the top 10 best matches of 2022. We're going to get into those right now. First off, we're going to go through some honorable mentions. I'm not going to explain why I included these on the honorable mentions, but I will explain why I included the top 10 on the list. I will explain why I put my top 10 in the places that they were in. But I'm just going to list off a few honorable mentions. Number one of my honorable mentions, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole in a Texas death match for the AEW World Championship on AEW Rampage, April 15th, 2022. Still to this day, the biggest matchup in Rampage history. Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta on AEW Rampage, April 8th, 2022. You want to know why? Go back and rewatch it. Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle, WWE Clash at the Castle, 2022, September 3rd, 2022. Becky Lynch versus Asuka versus Bianca Belair, Raw Women's Championship, Hell in a Cell on June 5th, 2022. Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus, Steel Cage match, Full Gear, November 19th, 2022. The Elite versus Hangman Page and the Dark Order, AEW World Trios Championship Tournament Finals, All Out on September 4th, 2022. Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and JD McDonough for the NXT Championship at NXT Halloween Havoc, October 22nd, 2022. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy, IWGP United States Championship at Forbidden Door on June 26th, 2022. Jurassic Express versus Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks, AEW World Tag Team Championships at AEW Revolution on March 6th, 2022. And finally, on my honorable mentions, it is Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WWE Clash at the Castle, September 3rd, 2022. And those are my honorable mentions. If you guys agreed with my honorable mentions, please let me know. If you thought that these honorable mentions should be on the top 10, please let me know. Now it's time for the top 10. Time for the top 10. Number 10. Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW Interim Women's World Championship at AEW Full Gear on November 19th, 2022. I wanted to go to this event. I ultimately did not because I had other stuff going on. It was a pretty busy time for me. So instead, I had a little party right over here, and I watched AEW Full Gear right there on the big screen with my friends Roman and Jess. Shout out to them. I'm pretty sure they're watching this right now. I ultimately decided on this match for the specific reason that this match was the culmination of Jamie Hayter's ascent to the top. On the first ever AEW Rampage back in April of 2021, Jamie Hayter came in. She got a very, very lukewarm reaction. No one really knew who she was. She was then paired with Britt Baker and Rebel. And then 2022 came around, and we really started to see Jamie Hayter get a lot more showcase. Jamie Hayter got a lot more showcase. She was winning a lot of matches. She was having a lot of standout performances, specifically against Thunder Rosa and Riho and Hikaru Shida. And then we got this matchup with Toni Storm. Jamie Hayter was starting to receive more and more appreciation as 2022 went on. And when we had that moment at All Out, when we had the Fatal 4-Way, Jamie Hayter, Shida, Britt Baker, and Toni Storm, when Thunder Rosa was unable to compete and we got an interim AEW Women's World Championship Fatal 4-Way match, when Britt Baker pulled the referee out of the ring as Jamie Hayter was about to get that 1-2-3 victory, that solidified Jamie Hayter as the next top-tier babyface in the women's division. We've seen many stars be created in 2022. Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, Wardlow, plenty more. The Acclaimed. But that right there, that moment when Britt Baker pulled Jamie Hayter's referee count, when Jamie Hayter had the pin and the ref was pulled out, that solidified Jamie Hayter as the next superstar to be made. Toni Storm won the championship, and we saw Jamie Hayter continue to get more showcase leading into Full Gear. This match was booked, and everything about this match was perfect for what it was. The time that they got, the crowd reaction, the near falls, the sells, the stories, the story of Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter being buddies throughout the pandemic, going into AEW, Toni Storm seeing that Jamie Hayter's changed. Jamie Hayter says, I'm still the same old Jamie Hayter that I always was. I haven't changed. And then Jamie Hayter with all of the crowd behind her. So much so that they were actually booing Toni Storm a little bit. And Toni Storm, she's as babyface as you could get. They were booing Toni Storm at certain points during this match. Everything that happened this year with Jamie Hayter, from the slow start to the great matches with Rosa and Shida and Riho, everything culminated in what was perhaps the best AEW Women's World Championship match of all time. To this day, Jamie Hayter right now, let me tell you something. If she did all of this shit in the second half of 2022, can you imagine what she's going to do next year? When Jamie Hayter hit that ripcord lariat, the Haterade, and she got that 1, 2, 3, that right there was the culmination of everything that Jamie Hayter went to. It almost reminded me, she was like the female version of the Acclaimed. It just happened so organically. It happened so organically, and in the end, it resulted in what was a match that will have significant meaning going forward, because this was the rise of Jamie Hayter. This match made Jamie Hayter into a world-renowned superstar. You can tell me she was a made woman in Stardom and all this other bullshit. At the end of the day, this was Jamie Hayter's best career moment thus far. And Jamie Hayter, going into 2023, she is going to be heralded as one of the top female wrestlers in the world, hands down. Jamie Hayter right now is doing some phenomenal work. And that's why this match landed at number 10. Jamie Hayter won the championship, and Jamie Hayter's ascent to the top was completed. And I know for a fact that things are only going to get better when we get that Britt Baker-Jamie Hayter feud. And Britt Baker should put over Jamie Hayter in the end. I cannot wait to see Thunder Rosa come back. Can you imagine Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter? I think that match is taking place at the pay-per-view at Revolution. It's going to be great. Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter for the AEW Interim Women's World Championship at Full Gear lands at number 10. Number 9, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at Crown Jewel on November 5th, 2022. The build towards this match was incredibly unbelievable. And what I mean by that is no one actually believed that Logan Paul stood a chance. No one believed that Logan Paul was going to beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was virtually untouchable, and you're not going to sell anyone. It doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter if it was Logan Paul, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, anyone. You can't sell a world title match with a champion like Roman Reigns taking on a guy who's only had 2 career wrestling matches. This was his 3rd. I'm sorry, you can't sell it. You can't sell it. However, after what Logan Paul did at WrestleMania and after what Logan Paul did at SummerSlam, he brought The Miz to The Miz's best match since his match at No Mercy with Dolph Ziggler in 2016 for the Intercontinental Championship. Logan Paul did that. And Logan Paul isn't even a legitimate professional wrestler. But if Logan Paul can bring The Miz to what was, to some people, the best match on SummerSlam's card, I think we all collectively knew that this match was going to be great. And in the end, Logan Paul and Roman Reigns landed themselves at number 9 on my list. And it was probably Roman Reigns' best match in many, many, many months. Probably his best matchup since his match with Edge at Money in the Bank 2021. That was a great match. That was a fantastic match. But in the end, Logan Paul, he delivered a match that was, I don't want to say it was better than the Edge match, but I mean, if you were to argue that, I really would not look at you in a weird way. I really wouldn't look at you in a weird way. I put this matchup on the list specifically because Logan Paul, even with all the doubt, even with all the bullshit that this match got, and rightfully so, because it was completely unrealistic. You can't sell a match like this and expect people to believe it. Even with all the bullshit and all the naysayers and all the doubts, Logan Paul ended up putting on one hell of a fucking performance, and a performance with potentially a torn meniscus. Potentially a torn meniscus. I don't know when he got it. He probably got it on the frog splash through the table. And the fact that he did that frog splash through the fucking table, still with a fucking cell phone in his hand, I mean, that right there, that's to be respected. That right there is to be respected. We can sit here and talk about how Roman Reigns has been booked like shit, but the last 3 title defenses for Roman Reigns, with Lesnar at SummerSlam, with Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, and then ultimately here with Logan Paul at Crown Jewel, which landed at number 9. The last 3 matches that Roman Reigns has had have been pretty damn fucking good. And Roman Reigns, hey, he can put on a great match even with Logan Paul. Great near falls in this match as well. There were a couple of times where I actually thought Logan Paul was actually going to beat Roman Reigns. Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, undisputed WWE Universal Championship at Crown Jewel lands at number 9. And if you put this match on your top 10, I would not look at you in a weird way. Number 8, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins 1 at WrestleMania 38, night number 1 on April 2nd, 2022, my birthday, my 23rd birthday. I was at Mount Fuji, which is a Chinese, Japanese cuisine restaurant where they legitimately cook in front of you. I had some great, great food, lo mein and sticky rice and nice steak, dumplings. It was great. It was awesome. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I got home just in time to see who Seth Rollins' opponent was going to be. And seeing Cody Rhodes just rise up from the stage, I legitimately got chills. It was probably one of the best moments in WWE since Seth Rollins, ironically, who fought Cody Rhodes here, since Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania 31 in what was, to this day, the best Money in the Bank cash-in of all time. Why did I pick this match? Why did I put this match out of the 3 matches that they had? The reason why I picked this match over the one at WrestleMania Backlash, even though that one was probably better than this one, and the Hell in a Cell match, the reason why I picked this match is because of 2 reasons. Number 1, the moment made the match even better. With Cody Rhodes coming out, we didn't know what happened. No clues, no hints were given before WrestleMania. Cody didn't appear. Nothing was said. Cody kept silent. Cody Rhodes was hush-hush. Same thing with Rollins, same thing with Vince, same thing with everyone. No one knew that Cody Rhodes was going to come out there. Some people thought it was Wyatt. Some people thought it was somebody different. We didn't know. But at the end of the day, when we saw that, and Cody Rhodes just rose up from the stage, hearing Kingdom, and nothing changed. Nothing changed from how he was in AEW. You hear that song, and it just rose up from the stage, walked out, crowds going nuts. It was deafening. That moment is one of the reasons why this match landed on my top 10 over their other two matches. And the second reason is because of this. The report going around was that Rollins had no idea that Cody Rhodes was going to be his opponent until Cody walked out there. So if Rollins didn't even know that Cody was going to be his opponent, Cody had no time to plan and prep with Rollins. They had no time to go over any spots. And Rollins went in there completely blind to who his opponent was going to be. And they still put on what was the best matchup across both nights of WrestleMania. That right there goes to show you how good of a fucking professional wrestler Seth Rollins really is. I'm not even joking. Rollins did that shit reportedly blindly. He had no idea Cody was going to be his opponent, and yet they still put on the best match across both nights of WrestleMania. That right there is a feat that not many people can accomplish. Not many people can go in there blindly. Not many people can go in there completely unaware of who your opponent is going to be and still put on a match of the year candidate. That right there is a quality that very few professional wrestlers have. And the fact that Rollins was able to do it goes to show you that Rollins will ultimately go down as one of the MVPs for WWE in 2022. That's why this match landed at number 8. And that's why I put this match on my top 10. Rollins and Cody Rhodes, the fact that the moment made it even better, and the fact that Rollins did this shit and put on a match of this caliber without even knowing that Cody was going to be his opponent, that right there speaks volumes. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, WrestleMania 38, night number 1 on April 2nd, 2022, my birthday, lands at number 8. Number 7, Swerve in Our Glory. Swerve in Our Glory versus The Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team Championship at AEW All Out on September 4th, 2022. Similar to the Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm match, similar to the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins match, this match landed at number 7, and this match made the cut for my top 10 because of what this meant for The Acclaimed. The Acclaimed formed on AEW Dark during the pandemic in 2020, literally in May of 2020. And we didn't really know too much about them. We saw slowly but surely that they were starting to get better and better and better as the weeks went on. They never complained. They never bitched. They never moaned. Bowens suffered through injury after injury. Max Caster suffered through a little injury as well. Then we get to 2022, and we get this pairing with the Gunn Club and Billy Gunn and The Acclaimed. I didn't really know what to expect of it, but they formed, and they just gelled well together. It didn't last long, but they gelled perfectly together. It was like comedy gold. It was one of the most entertaining acts about AEW. Then Billy Gunn ditches his sons, and Billy Gunn aligns with The Acclaimed. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know where it came from. But at the end of the day, Billy Gunn and The Acclaimed turned into, legitimately, to this day still, the most over act in the entire industry. It is shocking, actually. It's downright shocking. It's almost flabbergasting to even think that Billy Gunn and The Acclaimed, being the most over act in the industry, would go down as something that legitimately happened in pro wrestling. No one had that on their bingo card, that's for sure. I know you're going to throw in FTR in there and how FTR and The Acclaimed had a fantastic match. I know. But at the end of the day, I need to put Swerve in Our Glory and The Acclaimed on there because of what this match meant. No one is going to convince me that The Acclaimed were supposed to win the tag team titles at Grand Slam. I was there for the Grand Slam moment. I was there for The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory at Grand Slam when The Acclaimed won the AEW World Tag Team titles from Swerve in Our Glory there live in the crowd. The pop was deafening. I was there. But I don't think people understand that that match would not have been possible if this match didn't take place. This match was the Acclaim's Daniel Bryan moment. Daniel Bryan and the crowd reaction that he got forced WWE to do the triple threat match at WrestleMania 30 with Bryan beating Triple H and then going on to beat Batista and Randy Orton to win the world title. Bryan and his crowd reaction did that. That moment with Daniel Bryan and how huge the pop was for Daniel Bryan. If Bryan did not get that crowd reaction, then Bryan would never have gotten his moment. The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory, I guarantee, I can almost bet my life it was going to be a one-off. This match was going to be a one-off, and this match was simply going to be a bridge for Swerve in Our Glory to inevitably get to FTR at Full Gear. I have a feeling it was going to be FTR versus Swerve in Our Glory at Full Gear with FTR winning the titles, and FTR was going to hold 4 sets of titles. That didn't happen. Didn't happen. Instead, Swerve in Our Glory and the Acclaimed went in there. The crowd reaction in Chicago, combined with what we saw in the ring, and the Acclaimed were very good wrestlers, but they did not have that breakout match where people would look at and say, man, the Acclaimed can be considered one of the best tag teams in the world. This was that match. This was the Acclaim's breakout moment. This was the match in which people are going to look back on and say, this was the Acclaim's coming out party. This match was put on very late in the show, and the crowd was as hyped as they could ever be. They were lively. They were energetic. And the Acclaimed, they brought out, undoubtedly, their best performance that we've ever seen so far. Swerve in Our Glory is not to be discredited either, because I really don't believe that anyone, maybe FTR could have done that if FTR fought the Acclaimed at All Out. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm telling you, Swerve in Our Glory goes to show you how good Swerve and Keith Lee really are. They brought out the absolute best in the Acclaimed. And without this match, without the crowd reaction that the Acclaimed got in Chicago at All Out, without the Acclaimed getting cheered and Swerve in Our Glory getting booed even though they were baby faces, without this match, without this performance, without this crowd reaction, you are not going to convince me that the Acclaimed would have still gone on to win the titles at Grand Slam. That match at Grand Slam would have never happened if it wasn't for this match. The Acclaimed as the tag team champions right now would not have been possible if it wasn't for this match with Swerve in Our Glory at All Out. The Acclaimed altered Tony Khan's plans, and the Acclaimed altered Tony Khan's booking. That crowd reaction brought the Acclaimed to their first tag team title win at Grand Slam. That's why this match lands at number 7. Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed for the tag team titles at All Out. Number 6, Death Triangle, Pac, Phoenix, and Penta versus Will Ospreay and Aussie Open in the AEW World Trios Championship Tournament first round on AEW Dynamite on August 24th, 2022. I don't need to say much about this. All you need to do is watch it back. Pac and Will Ospreay, I could sit here and praise this shit all day long. 2 of the best wrestlers on the fucking planet. They are absolutely phenomenal in every sense of the imagination. But the reason why I put this match at number 6, the reason why this match made the cut is because of the shocking moment that took place early in the show where Jon Moxley beat CM Punk within 4 minutes to win the AEW World Championship and become the undisputed champion. The crowd was silent as fuck. The crowd was just completely silent. These 2 trios went in there and they absolutely tore the fucking house down for 30 minutes. For 30 minutes, they went in there, they tore the absolute fucking house down, and they gave you what was perhaps the best match out of the entire Trios Championship tournament. It was absolutely phenomenal. I cannot even begin to tell you what these two trios did. The fact that they did that and they put on that match and they brought the crowd to their fucking feet on more than one occasion after what happened with Jon Moxley and CM Punk on this same show when Punk virtually got squashed by Jon Moxley. That right there is a testament to how good Pac is, Will Ospreay, the Lucha Bros, and Aussie Open. And if anything, Aussie Open, this right here, should be looked at as a match with every reason. If Will Ospreay and Aussie Open are free from their New Japan Pro Wrestling contract at some point, there is no reason why Tony Khan should not sign those three men. Give me Will Ospreay and Aussie Open on AEW Dynamite on a consistent basis. We need that shit, and we need it now. We do. Just watch Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States title, and then tell me I'm wrong. This match lands at number 6 because of what these two trios did, even with the shocking squash of CM Punk. We're going to get into the top 5 in a little bit. Just double checking on everyone. Hope you guys are having a great time. Let me know which match so far is your favorite out of the matches that I just labeled. We are going to get into the top 5 in just a little bit. Hula Grim, how about it? Do these 5 so far, do they deserve to be on the top 10? I know Lisa wants Anarchy in the Arena. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil if that's on my list or not. You're just going to have to wait and see. Number 5. Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship on the first AEW Dynamite on TBS on January 5th, 2022. Hangman Page does not get the credit that he deserves. He really doesn't. I don't understand where this narrative came from. I'm not sure why people are disrespecting his world title reign. You need to open your fucking eyes. Look at his world title reign. His world title reign was fantastic. The only criticism about it is that it should have gone longer. That's my only criticism. I wish it would have lasted longer. Outside of that, you can't tell me his world title reign was a bad world title reign. You're telling me the bangers with Bryan, the war with Lance Archer, the 2 wars with Adam Cole, even his matchup with CM Punk. Even his matchup with CM Punk was great. You're telling me that those matches don't qualify to a great world title reign? If you're saying that, then you know what? You really need to go get another hobby. You shouldn't be talking about professional wrestling. Hangman Page's world title reign was fantastic. Hangman Page's world title reign was full of nothing but bangers. He was legitimately the cowboy version of Sheamus at the beginning of AEW in 2022. Banger after banger after banger after banger. And the fact that this match stood for so long, even after all this time, the entire 12 months of the year, Hangman Page stood with Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, for the AEW World Championship as number 5 after everything that they did and after everything that Bryan did for Hangman. That right there is something that is to be appreciated. It is very, very hard for me to sit here and tell you that this match did not at least land a spot on the list. And the fact that it made it into the top 5, it goes to show you that how good Bryan is and how good Hangman really is. You could say anything you want. You could say anything you fucking want, but at the end of the day, Hangman Page is one of the best professional wrestlers that AEW has to offer. And Hangman Page, when Jon Moxley cannot do it anymore, Hangman Page is going to be slotted in there as the fucking ace of AEW. He's going to win the world title again. He's going to build a nice, solid reputation for himself. And in the end, this match with Bryan was only the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even seen what Hangman Page is truthfully capable of. And Hangman Page's world title reign, it will go down as a great world title reign because of matches like this. To this day, this is still Hangman's best match out of his entire world title reign. Although I really did enjoy the Texas Death Match with Adam Cole on AEW Rampage. Hangman Page has everything that you need. He's very underappreciated on the mic. He's very underappreciated in the ring. He's very underappreciated as a character, especially with his promos and his program with Jon Moxley. And that promo that he cut when AEW was in Canada, that right there was one of his best promos ever. Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship on AEW Dynamite, the first Dynamite on TBS, January 5th, 2022, stands as number 5. And rightfully so. Don't believe me? Go watch it back and then tell me that I'm wrong. Spoiler, you won't. You won't tell me I'm wrong. Number 4. Sheamus and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WWE Clash at the Castle on September 3rd, 2022. I think we all expected that this match was going to be great. This match was going to be hard-hitting. This match was going to be physical. And Sheamus was one of the handful of individuals that people were clamoring for Gunther to fight. And in the end, I let me tell you something. I knew that we were going to get a banger. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I didn't think it was going to be this fucking good. And shame on me. Shame on me for underestimating Gunther and Sheamus. Shame on me. The last 5 months of 2022 can really be looked at as a career resurgence for Sheamus. Sheamus and everything that he did in the last 5 months of 2022 really solidified just how good he is, even at 43 years old. Sheamus is 43. Still looks like he's in his 20s, but he's 40-fucking-3. And he's in the best shape of his life. He's still performing at a high level. You take a look at him from 10 years ago, he's actually better now than he was then. Really. Sheamus is ultimately going down as the greatest Irish professional wrestler in the history of the industry, maybe. I don't think I've ever seen an Irish wrestler that has been as good and as influential, as hard-hitting, as consistent as Sheamus. Then you got Gunther. You had the name change. You had the fear that Vince was going to bury him. Everyone was fearful. And then Vince retired. Thank God he did. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I do not mind the name change. I really don't know how anyone can mind the name change. If anything, he makes the name change work. The way that he just says it, he says it with a certain conviction. Gunther. He just says it in a way that makes it sound sophisticated and intimidating at the same time. I don't know what it is, but he made it fucking work. And then you got Imperium as well, which helps the act. The crowd in Cardiff. Holy shit, did they fucking bring it. They fucking brought it. And you know what? If you were to tell me that this was your number 1, if you were to tell me that this match was your number 1, I would not look at you weirdly whatsoever. I would not argue you at all if you were to put this match at number 1. If anything, if it wasn't for 2 matches, I would have put this match at number 2. I would have easily put this match at number 2. But Sheamus and Gunther landed at number 4. And I really like to hope that they will tell the story of Gunther and Sheamus. Match number 3 at some point between now and WrestleMania. And Sheamus is finally going to win the Intercontinental title. Now, Gunther is reportedly penciled in to fight Brock Lesnar. Gunther's reportedly penciled in to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't know how they get the title off of him, but if you're asking me, either at the Rumble or at the Elimination Chamber, I would absolutely give the title to Sheamus. I would absolutely give the title to Sheamus and have Sheamus go into WrestleMania with the championship and have Sheamus just go on an absolute tear with the championship. Then you can give me Sheamus versus Ricochet, Sheamus versus Santos Escobar, Sheamus versus LA Knight, Sheamus versus plenty of other individuals, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental title, But Sheamus and Gunther landed at number 4 for me. There was 3 matches that topped Sheamus and Gunther. And we are going to discuss them right now. Number 3, the top 3. Number 3, Claudio Castagnoli versus Bryan Danielson versus Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho. Ring of Honor World Championship at AEW Full Gear, November 19th, 2022. This is my number 3. We can sit here and we complain all we want about Ring of Honor. I don't necessarily mind Ring of Honor being used on AEW TV. The only problem is that it gets too cluttered and everything is a little too overbearing. Other than that, I don't mind it on AEW TV. But I know some people complain about it, so I have to acknowledge it. People complain about it. People bitch about it. People moan about it. There's a lot of material about the Ring of Honor brand that people are going to complain about. I get it. But I mean, regardless of all of that shit, I don't think anyone can deny what these 4 men did. Matter of fact, this was probably, if I'm going to go out on a limb, I'm going to probably say that this was probably the best match on Full Gear's card. Probably the best matchup on Full Gear's card. And for me, it revolves around Chris Jericho. It revolves around Chris Jericho, and it revolves around how good he has been since the start of the year. The fact that Chris Jericho went into 2022, and a lot of people were pretty much writing him off, saying he needs to retire, and then Chris Jericho ends up going into 2022, and he can be considered one of the MVPs of 2022. He can be considered one of the MVPs of 2022. He gave Eddie Kingston a great match. He had great matches with Jon Moxley. He had great matches with Bryan Danielson. He had a fantastic Fatal 4-Way performance here, and he had one hell of a main event at Final Battle with Claudio. So at the end of the day, Chris Jericho ultimately brought this match up tenfold because on top of Chris Jericho being the Ocho and the fact that he just constantly reinvents himself, he constantly evolves. Chris Jericho, I don't know what happened, but he fucking found the fountain of youth somewhere. And he's probably putting on some of the best matches of his career right now. Outside of his matches with Shawn Michaels, outside of his matches with John Cena, outside of his match with Kenny Omega, I'm telling you, this was probably one of Chris Jericho's best career years. Honestly. Fantastic. And the best thing about this match is you can really tell in certain multi-man matches who's there to win, who's there as filler, who's there to take the pin, who's there just to look good. This match was different. This match made a case for any one of those individuals in this match to win. Anyone could have won this match. Bryan could have won. Sammy could have won. Jericho could have won. Claudio could have won. And it ended up with Chris Jericho retaining and ultimately helping put over Claudio 3 weeks later at Final Battle. If you don't believe me again, go watch this back. This matchup easily stole the show for me, and it gave us a different flavor for a multi-man match because it made you feel like any one of these 4 individuals could have won. And that's what I love. The unpredictability of this match made it that much better. And it landed it at number 3 for me. Number two, top 2 time. Number 2. It was going to be Anarchy in the Arena. It was going to be Anarchy in the Arena, Lisa, but I'm sorry. There is one match that trumped Anarchy in the Arena, and it was Eddie Kingston Santana, Ortiz, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hader. Blood and Guts match at AEW Dynamite. Blood and Guts on June 29th, 2022. The utter brutality, the utter chaos, the utter devastation, the utter insanity that was this match. I don't think we've seen a match that was this fucking brutal on free TV, might I add. This is free TV we're talking about. This match went nearly an hour. This match had weapons and blood and bodies flying everywhere. Everyone in this matchup earned an extra couple thousands of dollars, maybe even more, couple tens of thousands of dollars in their paycheck for this match. I thought that Anarchy in the Arena couldn't have been topped. And then we get this match. But what was the greatest thing about this match for me was Claudio. This matchup was one of the biggest statements for a disgruntled professional wrestler coming over from WWE who should have been big, who should have been a main event guy, who should have gotten a world title reign. Really. Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, a man who WWE should have built up as one of the next big things, a guy that could have easily been a world champion 3, 4, 5 times over. He went in there literally 3 days after putting on a great match with Zack Sabre Jr., and in his Dynamite debut, main event in the show, in one of the biggest television matches on TV all year, and he got the winning decisive fall. He tapped out Matt Menard. And Cesaro stood tall on the top of the cage, solidifying himself as a top-tier guy and a top-tier priority under Tony Khan. And Cesaro, I don't care what the fuck you want to tell me, Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli, Claudio has surpassed legitimately everything that he did in WWE. In WWE, he was suppressed. He was nothing more than a tag team guy. He was an undercard guy that WWE used simply to help others get over. But under Tony Khan, he puts on a great match with Zack Sabre Jr. He main events Dynamite in blood. He won the second ever Blood and Guts match in his Dynamite debut, his second match ever, and he's the guy to get the decisive fall that wins the match. I mean, if you want to talk about a statement, a fuck you to Vince McMahon and the old administration, that right there is the biggest statement that one could give. And that right there is what I loved about this match. He's a 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion. He's putting on bangers every week, featured on TV every week. And the guy is ultimately going to be a major, major player on AEW once Ring of Honor gets started and once Claudio inevitably drops the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. Trust me on that. Blood and Guts match from June 29th lands at number 2. Hologram, you are going to be giving me a lot of pats on the back for my number 1. Number 1, unequivocally, undisputably, positively. Number 1, best matchup of 2022, FTR versus the Briscoes. 3, double dog collar match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Literally 3 weeks ago at Ring of Honor Final Battle, December 10th, 2022. I thought that their first match was going to be considered match of the year. And then we go to Death Before Dishonor and we get the 2 out of 3 falls match. I thought that was going to be considered match of the year, and then we get this fucking match. If there's one thing that we do not deserve the services of FTR and the Briscoes. It was absolutely unbelievable to watch. It was absolutely crazy to even experience. And I sat there on my desk chair watching this shit on my laptop. And at one point, I even said to myself, I was taking notes, and then I look up and I see fucking Dax bleeding profusely. Jay Briscoe's face is completely red. All you see is his gray beard. You don't even see his fucking skin. All you see is just red all over his face. You had Mark Briscoe getting pulled off the top rope into a pile of fucking steel chairs. And at one point I said to myself, what in the actual fuck am I watching? I'll tell you what I was watching. I was watching an absolute fucking classic. And it ended with the Briscoes winning the championships. Why? Simple. Ring of Honor is going to get their TV show at some point. They're setting up the Briscoes to be the standard bearers in the tag team division, and they're going to help get over the next top-tier up-and-coming tag team in Ring of Honor. Could be the Kingdom, could be Top Flight, could be anybody. Really could be anybody. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Ring of Honor has to offer once they get their weekly TV show. And that is going to be a very nice thing to cover going forward. And I truthfully cannot wait for Ring of Honor. That's going to be a great way to fill my Tuesday nights rather than watching NXT in the background while potentially editing my streams going forward. I'm going to love it. I can't wait for Ring of Honor to finally get onto Honor Club. I'm waiting for Tony Khan to finally announce when we are finally going to see it. Because then I'm going to sign up for Honor Club immediately. The Briscoes, no one should be complaining about the Briscoes winning. After everything that FTR did, FTR is ultimately going down as the best tag team of the year. May very well go down as one of the best tag teams of all time. May very well go down. Maybe the best tag team of all time. It's FTR and the Young Bucks, and maybe the Usos. Those three teams are the three teams that could really be looked at as this generation's Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys. And you can put FTR as whoever you want. But at the end of the day, FTR and the Briscoes, double dog collar match, that is my number one. I don't need to sit here and justify it. All you need to do is watch it back. Spend $40, watch the pay-per-view. If you don't want to watch anything else, just watch this match. That's all you need. An absolute classic. This right here, this match, is everything that professional wrestling should be. And that is my number one. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my top 10 matches of 2022 with some honorable mentions thrown in at the beginning. We're going to go over 3 shows. We're going to go over SmackDown, Dynamite, and Rampage, and then we're going to get on out of here. I realize that a lot of you have other stuff to do, but I just want you guys to hang in there. We are going to have a nice, fun time. We're going to continue to go over the rest of the weekly shows. Raw was obviously a best of episode, so I did not cover that. But I did cover Dynamite New Year's Smash, which was a fantastic show from start to finish. Fantastic material. The show kicked off with Bryan Danielson versus Ethan Page. MJF was shown in the rafters, and he called Bryan brain-damaged Bryan. He was trashing Bryan as Page was beating him down. And, you know, if you were to tell me that this was Ethan Page's best matchup in AEW, I would not look at you weirdly at all. I know I've been saying that a lot all stream, but holy shit, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, Bryan Danielson absolutely brought the fucking fight with Hangman, not Hangman. I'm still on the match with Hangman in January with Ethan Page, not Hangman Page, Ethan Page. So Bryan with some stiff kicks. Page then was dropped with a missile drop kick. Bryan then sent Page to the floor. We had a beautiful tope suicida. Page took over with a punt kick. Coming back from commercial, Bryan mounted a comeback. Hurricane Rana off the middle rope, some stiff kicks to the chest, wrecking ball drop kick to the floor. Page sent Bryan into the steps, power slam on the floor. Back into the ring, we had a slingshot cutter by Ethan Page, beautifully done. That got a 2. Tornado DDT by Bryan and the LeBell Lock. Page got to the ropes. Page then cut Bryan off on the top rope. Bryan with hammer and anvil elbows. Page with a power slam from the middle rope for a 2. Psycho knee by Bryan, stomps to the head. Bryan with a Regal stretch in tribute to William Regal. And in the end, Page passes out. And what this was Bryan winning matches and inevitably working his way up to getting a world championship match against MJF, which I believe will take place at AEW Revolution. Samoa Joe, the king of television. My God, do I love what Samoa Joe's doing. Samoa Joe then attacked Wardlow in the back with a lead pipe, and he hit his leg, and that was the story going into their main event for the TNT Championship, which was a very nice story. From there, we go into Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley versus Top Flight, and my God, was this a great fucking tag team match. And if you were to tell me that this was Top Flight's best match, I would have to concur with you. I thought that this was probably Top Flight's best tag team match since they came to AEW. Top Flight did great here. So Top Flight were dropped by Moxley and Claudio early on. The BCC were in control. Darius was dissected. Dante came in. He lit up Claudio and Moxley. Standing moonsault on Moxley for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Top Flight worked over. They worked over. Who was it? Can't even read my own fucking handwriting. Darius's knee, I think it was. It was Darius's knee. Top Flight then was met with Claudio and the Uppercut Express over and over again. Nice single leg drop kick by Claudio. Claudio then with the swing to Darius Martin. Tornado DDT by Darius. Senton by Dante for a 2. We had a double suplex by Claudio. Claudio was then on the receiving end of a slingshot flatliner by Darius. Moxley then saved it. Super kicks for Moxley, super kicks to Claudio. Tope suicida by Dante onto Moxley. Claudio then reversed a backslide into a neutralizer, but Darius kicked out. Great near fall. Claudio was stunned. Moxley then with a lariat on Dante. Claudio then with hammer and anvil elbows. We had a paradigm shift to Dante on the floor. Darius was out of it. He slapped Claudio, and then Claudio with one wicked fucking uppercut gets the win in a great fucking match. Top Flight's best match in AEW for me. And the BCC, let me tell you something. The BCC are doing some great work. Even without William Regal. They don't need William Regal. They're the fucking BCC. They're the Blackpool Combat Club. It's all about violence in pro wrestling. I'm telling you, Top Flight, they're giving you every reason why they should be challengers for the World Tag Team titles. If they want to fight the Briscoes and Top Flight want to win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, I would not have a problem with that at all. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship was set for Rampage. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Hook, he took on Balaam Lynx. Hook just toyed with them. Red Rum for the victory. Stokely Hathaway then came out with Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. Hathaway was mocking Hook, called him the Southwest Airlines of AEW. Jungle Boy then came out, just bulldozed Moriarty. This was great right here. Big Bill and Hook stared down at each other. Big Bill went for a choke slam. Hook tried for an exploder, but Big Bill did not allow it. Big Bill went for the choke slam, but Jungle Boy then took a 2x4 and he hit Big Bill with it right in the back, and the baby faces ended up standing tall. And you know what? I am loving this program. This is a great use of both Jungle Boy and Hook for the time being. This is a great use of both men, and I am absolutely going to love when we inevitably get this tag team match. It's going to be great. And when Hook inevitably gets that exploder suplex on Big Bill, the pop's going to be big. No pun intended. Just listen. The pop will be fucking huge. Chris Jericho, he cut a promo on Ricky Starks. He called Ricky Starks a flash in the pan and how he's going to school Starks. He goes, I'm Chris Jericho, and I always win. Go check Action Andretti. Don't come back and stay out of my face. You will pay the price, and I will put an end to the Ricky Starks experiment. It's going to be a great match next week. Cannot wait for that shit. Good material. I'll tell you what else is good material. The fact that we are getting Wheeler Yuta and Swerve Strickland on AEW TV in a match against each other after what we saw on Rampage, which we will go over. Give me more of that shit, please. More Wheeler Yuta and more Swerve Strickland in matches together. I can get behind that shit. I'll tell you what else I can get behind. The Elite versus the Death Triangle, match 6 of the AEW World Trios Championship Best of 7 series. It is legitimately impossible for me to go over everything. It was absolutely unreal. The brawl was in the back over production crates, V-triggers and German suplexes and planchas and Northern Lights suplexes, doctor bombs onto trash cans, Meltzer drivers on the floor. It was ridiculous. The ending was great. The ending saw Pac locking in the brutalizer on Matt Jackson. Kenny Omega was somewhere in the fucking stands. He delivered a fucking one-winged angel off of the stands through tables onto Rey Fenix while Pac was unbeknownst because he was tied up with Matt Jackson. And after the referee counted 1, 2, 3, Matt Jackson inevitably tapped out. And Pac thought he won. But Omega got the pinfall before that. So let me tell you something. This match was absolutely fantastic. And if anything, if you were to tell me that this should have been on my top 10, you know what? I would probably agree with you as well. But the fact of the matter is I already made my top 10, so it was kind of hard for me to, rearrange everything because then I'd have to do all this other fucking thinking. But holy shit. These two trios gave you every reason why this match should be considered on people's top 10s. Who wins in the forum? I don't know. They could go either way. They could really go either way, but let me tell you something. Whoever wins, no one should be mad. No one should be mad after what we got all the way back at Full Gear up until now. These two trios showed you why they are undoubtedly two of the best trios in the industry. And you know what? If the Elite wins, so be it. Because let me tell you something. The Death Triangle, you could do a lot of great material with the Death Triangle outside of the Trios division. Maybe we get the BCC versus the Elite. Maybe we get the House of Black versus the Elite. That could definitely happen. But one thing that I am very much looking forward to, seeing this Escalera de la Muerte. And I fully expect that these two trios are going to give us a match worthy of being called a Match of the Year candidate when it is all said and done. Cannot wait for it. And this Best of 7 series will ultimately go down as one of the best productions that Tony Khan has ever done. So props to Tony Khan. Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan for the TBS Championship was on Rampage. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Rampage was actually a very good show too. From there, we got our women's match of the night. It is Anna Jay and Ty Conti versus Willow Nightingale and Ruby Soho. And these 4 women were put in a very, very tough spot. But I will say this. They ended up giving you a pretty solid match. Wasn't the best, but it was very solid. All 4 of these women worked hard. And ultimately, it was a decent interim match before we got to the main event, so I didn't have an issue with this match. Willow and Tay, they started off, and when Ruby tagged in, Tay tagged out to Anna. Ruby with the ground and pound. We had some quick tags by Ruby and Willow trying to, feel each other out and get the tag team vibe. Willow with a sliding crossbody for a 2. Tay then pulled Ruby down as Willow went for the tag. Willow was isolated. Willow came in with a very nice lariat. Tag to Ruby, tag to Ty. Ruby went right after Ty with some stiff punches. She sent Ty Mello headfirst into the corner. No future, but Mello kicked out. We had a punt kick by Mello to Willow. Everyone was down. We had a nice, decent little clapping fest. So we had some double team action by Willow and Ruby with a nice backdrop driver. Anna saved it. Jay then kicked Ruby with the J kick. And then Ty Mello with the DD tie. But Ruby was saved by Willow because Willow tackled Anna onto Tay to break the cover. Suplex to Jay onto the floor. The crowd was heavily behind Ruby. Headbutt by both women. Ruby then fell into the cover on Ty Mello for a 2. Jay then brought in a chair. Aubrey was tied up with Jay. Ty Mello brought in another chair, delivered a punt kick with the chair on Ruby. She then hit the tie KO, and Mello gets the win. 1, 2, 3. Solid women's tag team match. And this is an undercard feud that they've been pushing in the women's division, which I'm very happy to see that we're getting some undercard storylines. And if you're asking me what's going to happen going forward, I can absolutely see Ruby and Ty Mello having a no DQ match. I can absolutely see this match being a no DQ match, some sort of stipulation match to finally end the feud. And you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. Should be good. But this was probably one of the better performances from Ty Mello and Anna Jay. And that was pretty much it. Samoa Joe, Samoa Joseph, and Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Joe came out looking as smug as ever. Wardlow initially did not come out. Joe tried to hype himself up, saying Wardlow was suffering from stage fright. I love Joe. All of a sudden, Wardlow came out limping, pushing away the medical staff, and we get the actual match. Wardlow was selling the leg. Joe kicked his leg. Wardlow came in with a spine buster. Joe then came in with a Uranagi. Wardlow came in with a big clothesline. Joe then with a cross-legged knee buster on Wardlow, obviously working on that knee. Coming back from commercial, the medical staff worked on Wardlow. Wardlow tried to get back up. He did. Both men were on the middle rope. Joe fell back. Wardlow with a beautiful swanton bomb. Beautiful swanton bomb. It actually gets better every time. I gotta say, I think Wardlow actually does a better swanton than Jeff Hardy. So after the swanton bomb, Wardlow with a German suplex barrage. Wardlow still impresses me. Wardlow with a beautiful whisper in the wind. Close 2 count. We had a headbutt by Wardlow. Big lariat. Joe kicked out. Joe with a rolling sweep. Wardlow was then able to deliver a power bomb, but he couldn't get the second one. Wardlow then got hit with a chop block, coquina clutch, and Wardlow, remember, it's all about protecting the individuals that you have lose. And Tony Khan protected Wardlow here with the injury, and he passed out. Wardlow ended up passing out. Wardlow loses via a pass out because of Samoa Joe's coquina clutch. Afterwards, Joe then remained in the ring, hit Wardlow with the belt. He took scissors and he snipped Wardlow's ponytail. Just utter disrespect by Joe. And my God, do I love every minute of it because Joe's great. Darby Allin then came out with a skateboard and he dropped Joe and he stood tall, did Darby. We are getting Darby versus Joe next week on Dynamite, and it is going to be for the TNT Championship in Darby's hometown of Seattle, Washington. And my God, Is the crowd going to be fucking electric? Cannot wait for that. Now, where is this going? Where is this going? I honestly don't know. If you want to have Wardlow take the Ring of Honor World Television title from Samoa Joe, you know what? I wouldn't really mind that, but I honestly don't think that that's where this is heading. I honestly believe that this is heading towards a triple threat match, and Samoa Joe is going to end up walking out victorious once again. Who takes the TNT title from Joe? If you're asking me, then I'm going to have to go with Ricky Starks. If you're asking me, Ricky Starks taking the TNT title from Joe after Ricky Starks has really gotten himself hot. He's going to have a great match with Jericho. Ricky Starks should win the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and then Ricky Starks should go and fight Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship, and Ricky Starks should win the championship from Joe. That would be a lot better than having Wardlow just win the title right back. It would really make no sense. If you're asking me, where does Wardlow go from here? Well, whoever beats Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship is obviously going to need a solid babyface to work with. Now, they could have anyone beat Orange Cassidy. Right now, Orange Cassidy, it's an open field. It's an open field to who's going to beat Orange Cassidy. It could be Ethan Page. It could be Malachi Black. Maybe if they want to, they could bring in Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs can go and beat Orange Cassidy. Or maybe Miro comes back. Maybe Miro comes back and Miro goes up against Orange Cassidy and Miro takes the championship from Orange Cassidy. And maybe Wardlow inevitably is built up to take the championship off of Miro. Wardlow holds that title for a little bit, and then Wardlow inevitably moves on to MJF when the time is right for MJF and Wardlow to fight. That could happen. That could absolutely happen. It is going to be a rather interesting scenario, but in the end, I don't see what giving the title back to Wardlow would do. It would actually make Samoa Joe's title win worthless. It would actually question why he even gave the title to Joe. Now, Joe shouldn't have won the title to begin with, but I mean, you gave the title to Joe, and Joe right now is doing some fantastic work. Wardlow's not the guy to take the title off them. If you want to give Wardlow the Ring of Honor World Television title, maybe you could give that to him when the time is right. Maybe if you want to do it at Supercard of Honor, you could do something like that. Maybe if you want to do it at Death Before Dishonor, if Joe's still the champion by then, you could do something like that. But I don't know about giving Wardlow the TNT title back because Joe right now is making the TNT title. The Ring of Honor World Television title or the All-Atlantic Championship would probably be better suited for Wardlow, at least for the time being. We'll have to wait and see, but I can see a triple threat match happening. Wardlow, Darby, and Samoa Joe. And in the end, Samoa Joe retains. Samoa Joe should not be losing that championship anytime soon. Because right now, Samoa Joe is on a great reign as TNT champion. Wardlow, unfortunately, he was caught in the middle of a bunch of bullshit. He was a victim of A, not enough TV time, and B, Tony Khan, with everything that went down with CM Punk and the hospitalization of his mother, Wardlow was unfortunately one of the casualties. And ultimately, he suffered from not enough TV time. He was not given enough TV time to actually defend the TNT title and make his reign mean something, which sucks. It sucks. I get it. Wrong place, wrong time for Wardlow. I'd like to believe that in 2023 he's going to be more of a priority. And if he goes after the All-Atlantic title or the Ring of Honor World Television title, he should be in a much better position. We'll see what happens. But Dynamite was fantastic. Dynamite was fantastic from start to finish, and I cannot wait for the new era of Dynamite in the new year. It's going to be great. SmackDown. SmackDown was not fantastic, but it was not a bad show by any means. We did get a lot of solid material on the show. We started off with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's music hit. Wyatt came out to address the crowd. He says, "My name is Bray Wyatt, and I really don't think of myself as a good person." He says, I don't regret much. But last week, I did something I do regret. That cameraman didn't deserve it, and I would like to apologize to him. All of a sudden, LA Knight came out. Yeah, LA Knight, yeah. Let me talk to you, he says. He goes, the master of the mind games is getting gamed by the megastar, LA Knight. You can't even finish a sentence. You take it out on a cameraman? You think one of your goons dressed as Howdy Man is going to take the heat off of you? Nah, says LA Knight. You know, you used to be something. You used to be a force, but now you're a fraud. You are a broke down loser. You're sick and twisted. And you know what? I got the medicine. I got the medicine for your sickness. He goes, Royal Rumble is coming down the pipe. It's my first, and I'm going to make it special. I will put you out of your misery. Wyatt, now this was when things really started to get good. Wyatt goes, you little idiot. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Maybe it's time that I remind the whole world just how cruel I can be. I accept. I mean, let me tell you something. This program with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, they haven't even had a fucking match yet. All that there has been with physical altercation is LA Knight has slapped Bray Wyatt and punched him a few times. That's it. Holy shit, is this a great fucking program or is this a great fucking program? These two, I don't know what it is, but they just gel well together. Really. All of a sudden, some figure came dancing down the aisleway. I thought it was Uncle Howdy. People were then taking pictures of him. It didn't look like Uncle Howdy. Some people were saying it was Uncle Harper. I guess it's a new version of Luke Harper. Maybe the reincarnated version of Luke Harper. I don't know. But he came out. He looked like he was dressed as Uncle Howdy. He had a top hat. He had this white wig on and this face mask, this white face mask. And he started skipping down and fixing his blazer. He was just charismatic. He was like, he was doing his best. He was doing his best like Seth Rollins impersonation. He was like being all charisma and he was strutting. Like I got a little bit of a strut in me. When I'm in my DJ Storms mode, when I'm in DJ Storms mode and I go out to one of the ISPW shows and the people know who I am, sometimes I get into a little bit of character. Sometimes I throw on the shades and sometimes, I'm strutting. This guy was strutting. He was getting into it. His mannerisms were awesome. So he gets in the ring. He stares down LA Knight. He then stares down Bray. He then goes to Bray and delivers a Sister Abigail to Bray. And you can literally hear LA Knight say, what the hell is going on? LA Knight doesn't even know what's going on. And people are trying to figure out who this is. Some people were actually saying that it might have been Bo Dallas. I don't know. Some people were saying that it was Cameron Grimes. Some people were saying that it was Vincent of the Righteous. And you know what? If that's the case, I got no issue with that. They were seen in NXT. Vincent and Dutch of the Righteous were seen in NXT a couple of weeks ago. Now, if Dutch ends up coming in, if Dutch ends up being Uncle Howdy with Vincent being Uncle Harper, I mean, that right there are two great additions to Bray Wyatt's act. Because here's the thing. I think Bray is great, but I do not want to see the Wyatt Six be just the six faces of Bray Wyatt. I don't want to see that. I want the Wyatt Six to be a fucking faction. So if you want a faction, you got Vincent, you got Dutch. Wyatt's the leader. Alexa Bliss is all but confirmed. Then you got Bo Dallas, Brother Bo. Who's the sixth guy? I'd bring back Eric Redbeard as a callback to the original Wyatt family. I'd bring back Eric Redbeard. And you know what? If that is the Wyatt Six, I'd say 2 fucking thumbs up. Can you imagine the matches that the Wyatt Six could have with the OC and the Judgment Day and the Bloodline and the Brawling Brutes and Imperium? Can you imagine that? I can absolutely get behind that. I don't know what's going on, but whatever this was a very solid start to SmackDown. Really good stuff. From there, we go into Sheamus versus Solo Sikoa. Sheamus was in early control coming back from commercial. Sheamus then with a stiff lariat. Sheamus with 10 beats of the Bowdrin. Crowd was hyped. We had a super kick by Solo. Punt knee on the money by Sheamus. That got a 2. Solo then was caught with an Irish Curse backbreaker and then a clover leaf. Jimmy Uso helped Solo out of the hold behind the referee's back. The Brawling Brutes and the Usos then brawled on the outside before Sheamus dove off the top onto the Usos. Solo then delivered a Uranagi to Sheamus on the apron, and then in the ring, Samoan Spike by Solo. Throwback to Umaga. And Solo gets the 1, 2, 3. I'm loving how Solo's been booked like a beast. I'm liking what Solo is doing. More Solo and Sheamus. More so, I like it when we got two big guys just beating the shit out of each other. That's what these two guys do. I like that shit. More of that. Good match. Nothing too over the top. Nothing too crazy. Afterwards, Solo grabbed the chair and he was going to do to Sheamus what he did to Matt Riddle before Drew McIntyre came out. Drew stared down Solo, sent Solo to the floor, delivered a Claymore to Jimmy, and next week, on the first SmackDown of the new year, we will get the Usos versus Drew and Sheamus for the tag team titles. Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I already talked about this in the beginning of the stream. If you want to go back and listen to it, you can absolutely go back and you can listen to it. I'm not really going over it again. Charlotte Flair returned after the match, and she won the SmackDown Women's title from Ronda Rousey. You want to hear my long 25-minute rant on it? You can go back to the beginning of the stream. I'm not going to really talk about it again. The one thing I will say, and the one thing I will repeat is, A, it's a joke, and B, Raquel Rodriguez gave Ronda Rousey her best match since her match with Sasha. And fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair. I haven't said it in 8 months, but it still holds true to this day. Fuck Charlotte Flair and all of her supporters. They are all fucking lemmings. Next week, we also got Ricochet versus Top Dollar in a Royal Rumble qualifying match. Don't know why, because Kofi legitimately just declared himself in the Rumble, as if that's going to really bring some excitement into the Rumble by Kofi being in it. I'll tell you, though, what will be exciting. Imperium came out to address the WWE Universe, and they highlighted Gunther's reign of dominance. Braun Strowman then came out. Braun Strowman got in Gunther's face and demanded a title match. Strowman tried to take it to Imperium. He stopped a chop from Gunther. He then clotheslined Gunther. He bulldozed through Kaiser. He bulldozed through Vinci. But Gunther sidestepped him. And Gunther sent Strowman into the barricade. Gunther then with a chair beat the shit out of Strowman, and he targeted the arm. He wrenched on the arm of Braun Strowman before Ricochet came out with a chair to help. I'm telling you this right now. In 2 weeks, when we get Braun Strowman and Gunther is going to bring Braun Strowman to the best matchup of his life. Just watch. Guarantee you right now, that match is going to be great. That match is going to be awesome. Cannot wait to see it. I'll tell you what wasn't awesome. Kevin Owens and John Cena versus Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. Why wasn't this awesome? It wasn't bad, but I mean, 12 minutes? 12 minutes of a main event Why did you start this at 9:47? You started this shit at 9:47 when it should have been started at 9:30. Why did we need Charlotte? You couldn't have waited for Charlotte to come back next week, next year. You could have easily saved another 6-7 minutes for this main event, and you could have at least started at 7:40. Come on. Or 9:40, rather. My apologies. You could have at least started at fucking 9:40. Why did this match only go 12 minutes? I don't understand. All that hype for a 12-minute match, it was nothing. It was basic. It was a basic tag team match. No layers, no real story, no nothing. Cena and Owens win. Sami was pinned. A disappointing match. Very disappointing. But the story here is Sami Zayn got pinned. So Sami Zayn, you got some splaining to do. You're going to be in trouble with the tribal chief. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see where it goes next week. But the match, man, disappointing. Very disappointing. Should have at least started at 9:40. No reason, no fucking reason why we needed to wait all that time just to get a 12-minute tag team match. Stupid. I'll tell you what was not a disappointment. AEW Rampage New Year's Smash. AEW Rampage New Year's Smash was a very good show. And Tony Khan, he's starting to slowly get Rampage back on the right track, which I love to see. Keep that shit up, TK. Keep that shit up. Rampage New Year's Smash started off with Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. Let me tell you something. If you have not realized it by now, Trent Beretta does not get the credit that he deserves as a singles competitor. He really doesn't. He really doesn't. Trent Beretta is a great professional wrestler. Anything that you want him to do, he will take to that shit and he will make the most out of it. That right there is to be respected. And this match with Orange Cassidy was great. Cassidy and Trent, they traded shoulder tackles back and forth. Trent did a suicide dive, which Chuck Taylor caught him into a hug. You got to give the people what they want. Cassidy with a slingshot pescado. Trent and Cassidy then traded strikes. Trent accidentally sent himself into the barricade. Cassidy then drop-kicked Trent into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, we had Cassidy and Trent trading forearms back and forth. Super kicks by Cassidy. Big lariat by Beretta. Half and half suplex. Half and half suplex by Trent, which sent Cassidy into fucking orbit. It was a pretty nice looking half and half. Cassidy then delivered a Meishinuku driver. That got a 2. Trent was then caught with the satellite DDT and a diving DDT. Trent kicked out. Trent then delivered a very nice twisting tombstone pile driver. Cassidy kicked out again. Trent with the stuffed pile driver. Cassidy kicked out again. Penelope Ford then came down to the ring. She got up on the apron and she tried to cause a distraction. Why? Because Kip Sabian, he wanted to fight Orange Cassidy. Cassidy then hit the beach break. Beretta kicked out. Cassidy then finally hit the orange punch, and Cassidy retains in a great opening match to AEW Rampage. Once again, if you do not appreciate Trent, you really need to start appreciating Trent Beretta. He is a great professional wrestler. And next week we got Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship at Battle of the Belts number 5. Should be a great match. I can't wait to see it. I'll tell you what else was great. Darby and Sting were in the back being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. Darby cut a promo saying how everyone doubted him, even his own father, and he listened to them. But I started listening to myself. I became the TNT champion, and I lost it all. He then turned to Sting and then said, "Do you believe in me?" Sting then says, "What if I say no?" then I'll be just like everyone else. But if I say yes, you'll lose that chip on your shoulder. I don't want you to lose that chip on your shoulder. I want you to go in there with that chip. I want you to stop the madness. Focus not on what your dad thinks, not on what Seattle thinks, not on what I think, not what the people think. Focus on what Darby thinks. You have a chance to get your title back. Go in there and win your title back. Just shut your mouth and do it. This was awesome. This was fucking great. I'm telling you, the back and forth that Darby and Sting have sometimes when we have these scenarios where Sting is motivating Darby, saying, forget about what everyone thinks. Focus on what you think. Go in there next week and win your damn title back. That right there is some really great shit. That right there. We need more of that shit. We need more of that intensity. And you know what? This could very well be small little seeds planted for what is to come later on. We could very well be seeing the deterioration of the partnership between Sting and Darby. Maybe we finally get the Sting and Darby match that we've been waiting for. Maybe Darby inevitably takes Sting, and Sting is the heel. Darby's the babyface. Darby beats Sting. Maybe we see Darby beat Sting, and we inevitably see Darby move on to MJF afterwards. Maybe Sting is looking to finally hang it up. And if Sting's going to hang it up, Sting putting over Darby Allin, I mean, that's a great way to go out. And that would be a great way for Sting to cap off his career, helping put over a young up-and-coming star like Darby Allin. Good stuff. I like that promo. More of that promo. More of that. Kip Sabian, he took on some jobber named Atiba. Sabian wins with a very weak-looking Orange Punch. Obviously, that sets up nothing more than the match with Orange Cassidy next week. Jon Moxley, he was interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and this was a very simple, very effective promo. Jon Moxley, once again, selling the matchup with Hangman Page, which is taking place in the Forum in LA on January 11th. So Moxley, he was interviewed by Schiavone. He says, it's been a hell of a few years. Two men stood above all the rest. They beat everyone but each other. There would be a showdown, and I proved that there is only one top guy, one last man standing, one ace. I knocked Page into another dimension, says Moxley. I slept like a baby because the BCC, we work harder and deliver harder than anyone else. We don't care about the safety of the athletes. We deserve to sleep like babies, says Moxley. Oh, he got hurt? I've been hurt for 10 years. Big freaking deal. Get over it. I like this snappy version of Jon Moxley. More of that. I love the fact that Jon Moxley's just coming off so nonchalant. He's like, yeah, well, what did you expect me to do? It was for the World Championship. I knocked Page out. This ain't ballet. I like that shit. Jon Moxley, I'm telling you, Jon Moxley's going to go on a monster fucking heel run. So Moxley continues saying, January 11th, you want it? See your doctors. I'll be waiting for you. This is a tough business. And if you make it to the Forum, I will remind you just how dangerous this business is. Keep your hands up, bitch. Simple, effective, and you know what? I'm looking forward to it. After their first match and how good it was going before Page got knocked out, I'm looking forward to it. Now, what's going to happen? I don't think Page is going to get the win. Here's what I see happening. I honestly see Page losing, and they are going to play up a story going into March about how Hangman Page cannot beat Jon Moxley. They're going to tell the story of Page not beating Jon Moxley, and then Page inevitably gets his third match at Revolution, and he finally vanquishes Jon Moxley. That right there is going to be a great story to see. And you know what? If that's going to get Hangman Page back on the right track, I'm going to love that. And Hangman Page, he's inevitably going to fight MJF. He will inevitably fight MJF. And that's going to be a great program. So I can absolutely see Moxley winning the match. And then he puts over Page at Revolution. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team titles is confirmed for Dynamite. This will be a one-off, and the Acclaimed will retain the tag team titles. Should be a decent little match. Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan for the TBS Championship. Kiera Hogan looked pretty decent here in the small flurry of offense that she had. Jade was pretty much toying with her. Jade hit a nasty chokeslam on Hogan. Coming back from commercial, Hogan was caught with a punt kick. Hogan kicked out. Red Velvet then stopped Jade Cargill from slapping Kiera Hogan. So that is obviously a storyline that they're playing up. It looks like Red Velvet is going to be another challenger for Jade Cargill going forward. Hogan mounted a comeback with a wheelbarrow bulldog, hip attack on the ropes, nice roundhouse kick, a nice super kick, and then a sliding drop kick in the corner. I actually want to see more from Kiera Hogan. Hogan then with a crossbody for a 2. Jade then finally hit the Jaded, and Jade retains. And then afterwards, Red Velvet walked out. So it looks like we're going to get Red Velvet and Jade Cargill. And you know what? I'm not going to mind that because Red Velvet and Jade Cargill had some pretty damn good matches in the past. So I think that Red Velvet's going to lead Jade Cargill to a very good match. I'll tell you what's going to be a very good match. Tony Nese and Bryan Danielson. That's confirmed for Dynamite. It's going to be good. I'll tell you what else was very good. Wheeler Yuta and Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Oh, it's going to be Swerve's house sooner rather than later. Swerve, as a heel, is great. And Wheeler Yuta and Swerve Strickland, more of these two. Anytime we see these two in the ring together, it's a thumbs up. I want to see what these two can do on a bigger stage. So Yuta brought the offense in early. Yuta grounded Swerve with a nice drop kick. Nice tope suicida. Swerve came in with a punt kick to take over control. Coming back from commercial, Yuta with a diving forearm strike. German suplex for a 2. Swerve then with a very nice deadlift brainbuster. Yuta kicked out. Yuta then with a modified angle slam. Swerve kicked out. Swerve then attacked Yuta's injured leg. Swerve went up top before Yuta met him with an enziguri and a beautiful superplex. Yuta then with a modified pin, but Swerve got out of it. Hit the house call on the fucking money, but Yuta kicked out again. Swerve then accidentally hit the ref, or he pushed the ref into the corner by mistake because Yuta went to attack him, so Swerve went for the ref. Ref was out of line, and ref did not see Swerve hit a low blow. Swerve then hit the JML driver for the 1-2-3 victory, and we inevitably saw Swerve get the win over Wheeler Yuta in the main event of Rampage. And Swerve, he did not need the help of the Mongol affiliates. They stood there and they did not get involved. So Swerve winning matches without the Mongol affiliates, that right there is a thing that we need going forward. Swerve looked great, and I'm liking the faction. The faction has a very nice look, and it should be very, very intriguing to see what they do going forward. I'm very much looking forward to it. And we got a very good episode of Rampage. If Tony Khan can keep this format with Rampage going forward, better wrestling and better promos, then we should be in for a nice, solid year for AEW Rampage. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. We went nearly 3 hours. Great way to close out the year. I'm going to go get to working out because I need to pump these fucking guns and get one last workout in before we close out 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have had a fantastic time. Thank you for spending your last day of 2022 with me. Like, comment, subscribe. Get ready. Get ready for the next year. Get ready for the next year because we are going to have a great year. Next month is going to be great. You're going to see new people I'm going to collaborate with, and familiar forces return. What do I mean by that? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. But we are going to have a fantastic 2023, starting on Thursday with the official rundown for Battle of the Belts number 5. Number 5 with Lil Stevie. He'll be back on the channel next Thursday, January 5th at 8 p.m. Do not miss it. It's going to be fun. It is going to be good. Until then, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update, and this has been 2022. But before we get out of here, before we head into 2023, ladies and gentlemen, tell me, oh tell me, oh tell me, who runs the IWC? Who runs it? I'll tell ya who runs it. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. Happy New Year, you filthy animals.